truth is to be proven, not to be told. Just because I say something doesn't make it the truth. The truth is what I can prove. What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video. So, long story short, yesterday morning, I was eating breakfast and I was on my phone. And as I was scrolling through my YouTube feed, I come across a video titled World Exclusive, Michael Jackson's Secret Family Break Their Silence. And I was like, well, who was that? And I actually got a comment from someone who told me that the Cascio family had did a segment with 60 Minutes. And not even the 60 Minutes in America. These motherfuckers went all the way down to Australia to do that. Because it wouldn't fly here anyway. And you know what? I said, let me check this out, because I figured the last time, I heard of the Cascio family, the last I heard of them, the news said that they were forced into arbitration. So whatever it is that they were trying to do didn't work out for them. The last I heard. I don't know if I'm correct or not because, my life doesn't revolve around Michael Jackson. So, when I'm not on YouTube, when I'm not at a Michael Jackson party or I'm not doing a Michael Jackson video, I'm doing other things. So I'm not constantly monitoring Michael Jackson news 24/7. So sometimes I find out about things late, So yeah. So I end up watching the segment and I think I got maybe 3 minutes in and I said, oh shit, okay, let me really pay attention and see what's going on, because from my understanding, they were trying to go for Leaving Neverland Part 3. This is what they were trying to do. All right. And I had to refute it, because I'm like, there's no way that knowing what I know of these people and knowing what I know of Michael Jackson and his history, good and bad, that I could let this fly without me refuting it, like I said, because I remember when the first Leaving Neverland came out. All right. And I remember feeling like, man, I wish I had a YouTube channel to speak my mind, because I remember responding to, everything in my, Instagram story, but obviously nobody's seen it, beyond the 24 hours that it was up on my Instagram. And I remember saying to myself that if there's ever something that ever happens like that again, and I have a YouTube channel, I'm always going to respond and defend Michael Jackson. So I'm glad that not only do I have a YouTube channel, but I do have a YouTube channel that can reach other fans and laymen and casuals and haters alike and people, so they can get the real and so that they can get the truth. Keyword truth, which is going to be a recurring theme and word that I'm going to use throughout this video, because like I said, I seen it yesterday. I didn't have time to actually record the video, and do it to my liking. So I watched the entire segment from start to finish. I rewound it a bunch of times and I took notes and I timestamped all the notes. And I responded to everything from 0 minutes and 0 seconds all the way to 53 minutes. I responded to everything. All right. And I'm not going to actually react to the whole entire segment because, one, it's all bullshit. It's nasty. I don't think it's necessary to watch it again, the whole entire thing again, to prove my point. However, I am going to highlight certain moments to emphasize the points that I'm going to be making in this video, because it's about truth and it's about justice. All right. And these are two words and meanings that the Cascio family and their lawyers know absolutely nothing about. All right. So please bear with me, because this is probably going to be a very long video and I'm going to go through all of my points. I'm going to read the timestamps, like the numbers, the numerical timestamp, and then I'm going to give my points. And then again, at certain parts of the video, I'm going to show the clips and then get back to my point. And then at certain other moments, I'm going to fire off and elaborate and expound if necessary. But basically, I'm going to just be reading everything that I thought, felt, and said to myself yesterday. And also, real quick, I just want to say this too. for all the Michael Jackson fans out there, and when these things happen, right? We are all fans of Michael Jackson. We are all fans of one singular person. And I don't know if any of you, which I'm pretty sure y'all have, but I'm not going to make assumptions. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard the saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Right? You have two Michael Jackson fans. Two Michael Jackson fans that may not agree on everything does not make them enemies to each other. Because you have legit YouTube channels, people out there whose sole existence is to monetize Michael Jackson and to tear down his legacy. Tear down his name, call him all sorts of nefarious, heinous, nasty, evil things. But then yet, some of you find the time to argue and go back and forth with me or other Michael Jackson fans that are actually on the same side as you. And I don't understand that, because sometimes I get comments from other quote unquote Michael Jackson fans. I'm not talking about the real ones. I'm just talking about these fly by day random people, and they attacking me just because I said something that they don't agree with. So all of a sudden we got to go back and forth. This is one thing that my grandfather always says. Two people can disagree, but that doesn't mean that they have to be disagreeable. I don't have to understand your opinion. However, I have to respect it. If I respect you. Right? So if you hear something that comes out of my mouth that you don't like, trust me, it's always for the benefit of Michael Jackson, because I'm a fan of Michael Jackson first and foremost. It's like I wasn't a fan of people that are associates of him. No, I'm a fan of Michael Jackson. So it's what I say is in the interest of him, regardless if you agree or not. But that doesn't mean you should be battling me when we should all be smart enough to know who the real enemy is. The real enemy are the people that are out there on the front lines, attacking this man, saying that all of the allegations and the things that people have said about him are true. Instead of critiquing me and arguing with me, you need to take that energy and bring it over to these people. Don't be coming at me, because I'm a pro Michael Jackson channel. I'm not an anti Michael Jackson channel. Because if I go and look at these anti Michael Jackson channels that I have in mind right now, I'm pretty sure y'all are not in their comment sections. But for some reason, you guys are in mine. Maybe I do have to go look. Maybe you are. But I say that to make this some sort of call to action for people to unify. Because to me, I feel that for Michael Jackson to be considered the biggest and greatest entertainer of all time, then that means he has the biggest and greatest fan base of all time. But for some reason, it's different factions and cliques and different groups and shit like that. Somebody doesn't fuck with this person because of this reason, this and that. It's like, no, we should all come together with the one love that we have for this particular artist that has inspired and helped and motivated us throughout our entire lives, and focus on that. You know what I'm saying? If you go to a buffet and you see one, food that you don't like, does that mean the whole entire buffet is bad just because you see this one dish that you're not going to eat, that you don't want to have, that you're allergic to? No, you're going to partake in the other thing. So even if we don't agree on this particular thing, we do agree on all the other things, all the important things. So what's important is that Michael Jackson was innocent. What's important is the truth of the situation. That's what's actually important. And I'm imploring everybody that's watching this and listening to this to follow that. Follow that. If you ever found yourself arguing with another Michael Jackson fan over something stupid, stop doing it. Stop doing it. Like, I remember, before I really get into this, because I remember when I dropped that video about the Cascios a couple of months ago, and I posted it on Twitter. Some Michael Jackson random person who's probably racist, I think, I don't remember, but was going back and forth with me because I said that they were suing Michael Jackson when they wanted me to put in the title, oh, they're fighting arbitration or some legal mumbo jumbo. But the thing is, they want $213 million from the estate. That's suing them. Basically, that's suing them. I remember I even asked the AI, I was like, yo, like, who's right, me or him? And it's like, basically, it said, I am right. Like, yeah, that person's being nitpicky, but overall, what they're trying to do basically is a reflection of my title in the video, which was correct. And I tried to say that to that person. I'm like, why are you arguing with me? I'm not an anti-Michael Jackson, person. I'm not a hater. So what the hell are you fighting me for? Over semantics? Like, that's neither here nor there. The point is, we should both agree that we are on the same side of the fence and fight them, not each other, because that's a waste of time. That's a waste of energy. I'm pretty sure it would be discouraging if every time somebody were to come out with some anti-Michael Jackson propaganda and then y'all was all in their comment sections, heckling them, fighting them, disproving them, arguing with them, debating them, then they would be discouraged and probably wouldn't want to do this shit anymore because they wouldn't really want the smoke. So if we are the greatest, and best fan base out there, then we got to start acting like it. You got to mobilize. Because if the greatest army is fighting amongst themselves, then the enemy is like, oh, we could really come in there and plant bombs and do all the shit that we're going to do, or flank them from behind because they're too busy, fighting amongst themselves to understand that we're coming and we're on the way trying to destroy them. I see the bigger picture. A lot of y'all don't, but this is a call to action. Focus on what's important here. Because I don't see a lot of these other Michael Jackson, fan channels and all of these things making these types of videos. They're not putting themselves out there, to be disagreed with or to be disliked in the name of protecting Michael Jackson's name and his likeness and his legacy. Regardless if my video gets thousands of views or hundreds of views or dozens of views, it doesn't matter. The point is the truth and it needs to be said, it needs to be heard, and it needs to be proved. All key words that I'm emphasizing here. But I couldn't go on with this video without first prefacing it with the real. You know what I'm saying? Because it bothers me when I look at my comment section and then this person has, for every one good thing that they have to say about what I said or my video, they got 5 other things that they're critiquing and tearing down. And it's like, bro, for what? For what? Bro, it's like, take that and bring it over there to these people. Because I see them. I know they out there. There's more of us than there are of them, but you guys are fighting amongst each other over the stupidest stuff. And I'm tired of it, man. Because I'm a fan of New Edition. I don't see New Edition fans doing that. But for some reason, Michael Jackson fans love arguing amongst themselves. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because everybody feels that they're the #1 fan of Michael Jackson and they're the biggest know-it-all. It's like, bro, you don't even make no money off of that. You don't. And then even the ones that do, it's like, bro, you're not really, doing anything meaningful in my opinion because you're living in somebody else's shadow. At least if you're going to make a big platform off of Michael Jackson, you better use that shit to help him too and to tell the truth. And to fight the lies and the propaganda. That's what you need to do. It's not about, using Michael Jackson just for your own personal gain. Because if that was the case, then you would have seen me spamming Michael Jackson content and AI content like a lot of these Michael Jackson fans do, where they're making video essays left and right. They don't even do it themselves. They use AI to do it. You know what I mean? And then they're just spamming them just to try to make money off of it. Just like other leech channels that do the same thing. They don't do anything else but Michael Jackson to either make money off of him or to tear him down. They don't do nothing else but that. It's like, what have you done to actually defend him? Because that's what matters. It's not about just, being here for a good time. It's like, well, we want Michael Jackson's legacy to be here for a long time and you got to protect it. Otherwise, bro, it's going to get buried underneath all, like I said, the propaganda and the lies and the agendas. That's what matters. So y'all see me as like, one, not only am I here to entertain, but I'm also here to defend and educate too. That's what I'm here for. And y'all have to understand that. It's levels to this. I'm not doing this for my personal gain, because if I was, then that's all you would see me do is just make Michael Jackson content. I'm like, bro, I didn't get on YouTube just to do that. I got on YouTube to be artistic, creative, and to express myself. That's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to bite off Michael Jackson's legacy and to only do that. You know what I'm saying? My channel is a variety channel. And it's also not a channel where I'm catering my opinions to yours. No, my channel is for me to speak my mind. Whether you agree with it or not, that's up to you. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to be here, respect it. And if you can't respect it, then honestly, you don't need to be here. All right? And I say that with all respect. You know what I'm saying? And this is for the real Michael Jackson fans. This is for the real ones. And I know this is not, for the real people that have been on my channel for years. This is not for y'all. This is for the randoms that come on my channel just to hear everything that they want to hear. And the minute that they don't hear something, that they like, or they hear something that they don't like, then they start coming at me, attacking me, and then they get blocked. And then, your whole privilege to comment in my section is revoked. But we got to unify. That's how it is. That's how it goes. I feel like Fred Hampton and Judas and the Black Messiah, where he was trying to join forces with the other Black empowerment group, and then they was hating on him because their ideals were didn't align. It's like, so what? We know we got a common enemy, but you mad at me because I don't agree with you on everything? That's not how life works. That's not how life works. That is not how life works. I am a real Michael Jackson fan. I've been a Michael Jackson fan my whole entire life. And when I see these people coming out here and literally tearing down my hero and saying he's done the most nasty, nefarious, because the stuff that they said that he was doing to me is literally disgusting. I could not have watched that and not have responded. There's no way. And I'm surprised every single pro Michael Jackson channel has not done the same yet. Y'all got time to be doing all of these movie reviews, but you don't have time to defend him? This is what I'm saying. We got to hold each other accountable. Y'all knew to make biopic reviews, fresh out the theater reviews. I get that, cool, but where are you when we're under attack? When Michael is under attack, I should say. I mean, shit, when he's under attack, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? I'm under attack. Because again, what you see, here, for the most part, is what I've gotten from Michael Jackson and other people. But again, he was the first. So if you insulting him, it's an insult to me. And I feel the people that are actively trying to or benefiting from Michael Jackson should be using their platform to defend him every single time. There's no excuse. There is no excuse. Because I'm doing this for the right reasons. And I know a lot of people, they're doing it for their own personal gain. Fine, have at it. But me personally, I can sleep at night knowing that the content that I create comes from the heart and it comes from a good place and it's filled with integrity and morality. I'm not like, yeah, all right, what can I make that's going to get the most views? That's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. But I see that's what it's about for a lot of people. They're just, everything is fun all the time. Clearly, in terms of Michael Jackson, it's not fun all the time. Clearly. It's been like that since, I mean, if we want to be honest, really his whole entire life. But if we want to be specific, since 1993, it hasn't been fun all the time. And I could not be a fan if I didn't, defend him. So without further ado, let's get into it. So in my notes, I said, I'm looking for substantial and tangible evidence / proof beyond anecdotes that can be substantiated with undeniable proof that the alleged molestation and sexual assaults took place. Because what happened was, I watched it till about 5, I think maybe 10 minutes in. When I saw Al from Al's Toy Barn, crying, from Toy Story 2, I brought it back, and then this is when I said, okay, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to try to watch this from the aspect of a layman, someone who is neither a Michael Jackson fan or a fan of the Cascios, no bias, and I'm just approaching it with a fresh mind. Looking for evidence and information. That's what I was looking for. And I said, I want to note that out of the 5 siblings, the one who is not a part of it is the oldest, Frank, who wrote a book called My Friend Michael in 2011. Who, from a couple of people in my comment section in the last 24 hours, says that his book is still for sale, on Amazon. Although I feel he might not be a part of this thing, but it seems like he's involved because it's hard to tell which one is which. Because to me, they all look alike. They all look like, pale Mr. Potato Head looking people, honestly. So I said that. And then I said this is practically Leaving Neverland Part 3. Yeah. Now, I want to know. It says that how old is Dominic Sr, which is the father of all of them, the patriarch of the Cascio family, and the same guy that met Michael Jackson at the Helmsley, Palace Hotel in 1984. And from the research that I've done, he had to have been a minimum of six years older than Michael Jackson, because Michael Jackson was born in 1958. So meaning Dominic Sr. had to have been born at least 1952 and prior. Because by the time he met Michael Jackson was, 26 years old? He was already the senior manager of the Helmsley Hotel. So that means for you to have been the senior manager, you was there for a long time. And clearly, back when they met, he looked visibly older than Michael Jackson. By, again, a certain amount of years. And his wife, Connie Cascio, is 1 year older than Michael Jackson. Okay, and I'm making a point here. So she was born in 57, so she's 1 year older than them. So the matriarch and the patriarch of the Cascio family are both older than Michael Jackson. Please make note of that. All right, now, right, and I said both parents were older than Michael Jackson, but somehow were underneath his spell. The only spell they could have possibly been under was a financial spell at best. So even if their claims were true, that makes the parents just as guilty for selling out their children. Exactly. Because again, I'm judging this based off of me being an adult, all right, and knowing what I know about life and you know, children and social dynamics and all of these different things. Because the Cascios keep saying, oh, we were under a spell, we were programmed, we were this, we were this, we were that. And it's just like, but how when your parents were adults? And we've heard, you know, these stories about, you know, R. Kelly and, you know, where were Aaliyah's parents, or where were the parents of the girls that he was urinating on and all of that. And then the narrative is that, well, these parents are selling out their kids for some sort of, you know, monetary gain. You know, clearly some sort of benefits. Right? It's like even the same thing. I love Prince, and I'm not implying anything about Prince, but I'm just saying, one of his, I think his last wife, Maite Garcia, or Maite, however you pronounce her name, he met her when she was underage. Okay? And then he got legal guardianship from, you know, from her parents, you know, to live with her once she reached a certain age. I think she was on tour with them and shit like that. So that's what I'm saying. These people had to go through the parents in order to get access to the children, if that's the case. So wouldn't that make these parents guilty of neglect? You know what I'm saying? Willful neglect at that. I'm just saying. Because these are things that I was, you know, making note of before I actually started watching the segment. So now, at 3 minutes and 27 seconds, there's a part in the segment where they're watching a clip, old footage of Michael playing with them. And it was Eddie Cascio who said, oh, why is he playing with us? And I said, well, instead of him asking that, Dominic Cascio Sr. should have been the one to ask that question, because not only is he the father, but he was also older than Michael Jackson by at least a minimum of 6 years, meaning he had to have been born in 1952 or prior, because by the time he met Michael Jackson in 1984, he was already the senior manager of the Helmsley Hotel and 2 children by that point. He had 2 kids by that point, so this man was a full-fledged adult with a mortgage and a wife and kids. And it says Michael Jackson was 26 going on 27 with no kids yet, so clearly Michael Jackson was younger than him. You're reacting that way now as an adult, but you had an issue with it. You had no issue with it as a kid because you didn't see anything wrong with it, because nothing nefarious was happening to you at that point. The same could be said for their own mother. There is no way children can be sexually exploited by what is practically a stranger, and a sane mother or father would stand idly by and do nothing. This is what I'm saying, right? Because one of them later on in the segment said that, oh, Michael Jackson was like the cool uncle. Yeah. And if he was in fact the cool uncle to y'all, then what was wrong? What was wrong with that video? If that was the case, it's like, yeah, there are plenty of times where, like, yeah, I you know, would play around with my uncle, with my aunts and all that shit, play tag, and they would, you know, swing me around and all that, because that's what family does. Y'all said that he was a family member of yours and he felt that same about you guys. So what was wrong with that? You guys welcomed him in there. Okay? Now at 4 minutes and 34 seconds, they said each and every one of the children were victims of abuse at the hands of Michael Jackson, but somehow none of them knew or were even remotely aware of each other's abuse for over 30 years. Okay? Now, here is my issue with that. And I know I expound on that a lot later on, but I want to just touch on that briefly. There is absolutely, positively no way that none of them knew what was going on. There is no way. Because even if, let's say, the child doesn't tell the mother, but you got that many siblings, y'all, you know if y'all, all of y'all are at Michael Jackson's house, and then one of them goes missing for an hour or hours, and you had that same relationship with them, you know what's going on. If that's the case. If that is the case, there is no way that you guys were totally oblivious to what was happening, if it was in fact happening, because they act like they were all in isolation. Like Michael Jackson had one person living in Wisconsin, the other person was living in Virginia, then another person was in Texas, and then another person was in you know, New Jersey somewhere, or Connecticut. And y'all had no contact with each other. For crying out loud, y'all were all living in the same house for years. Y'all were all living in the same house. And none of you knew what was going on? There's no way. There is absolutely no way. And even if I got a sibling, they were going, something like that was happening to them, and they didn't tell me, kids are very perceptive. Because kids have an awareness to their surroundings and people at a very young age. So you know what's going on. I mean, kids can be oblivious to certain adult dynamics, but kids can still feel the same way adults can feel. It's just adults have the ability of perception because of life experience. But I knew things were going on. You know, when I was a little kid, I wasn't totally oblivious. I knew what was going on. I couldn't tell you what it was, but I could tell you something was happening. And I call BS on that. So then at 4 minutes and 47 seconds, he said Michael Jackson is an evil monster that tricked the entire world into thinking he's a perfect, innocent human being, and he's not. All right. Now, I say that to say this. There's no such thing as perfect. You'll never find one video on my channel of me calling Michael Jackson perfect. Okay? And the reason why I say that is because perfection does not exist. And if Michael Jackson was this evil monster that tricked the world, one, why did it take you so long? Because it doesn't take 30 years to sense real, true evil and nefariousness, if that's the case. And then two, as adults, you guys went on numerous media platforms and stood by Michael Jackson over and over and over again, where you were specifically asked, did Michael Jackson molest you? Did Michael Jackson, hurt you in any way? Were you harmed by Michael Jackson? What was your relationship like with him? All of you guys as adults, we're not talking about little kids here. All of you as grown-ass adults, answer these questions with full conviction. No, he didn't do anything to me. He was great. He was part of the family. He was like our uncle. Everything was cool. Same thing with Wade Robson. You were asked these same questions and you defended him. But all of a sudden now, you want to change your tune? And I've talked about these things before, but the main question that I asked was, well, what changed? For you to have had his back publicly, and then all of a sudden now, you think he's the scum of the universe? Because somebody who was really traumatized, they are, especially, all right, so they're psychologically traumatized and programmed, like you say. If the impetus for this whole entire thing was Leaving Neverland, then wouldn't the impetus have been with all the details that came out in 2003? Because I guess, all right, they were kids in 1993. Because I said that before. That when the first allegations came out, well, why didn't they say anything? And the thing is, that's really on the parents more so, because at a young age, you are impressionable. But by the time you get, to an adult, it's like, bro, you can see things for what they are and for what they were. And 2003 was the ample time to say, wow, he was doing this and he was doing that to me. Wow, okay, cool. And that was your time to do so. Back then, if this in fact happened. And like I said in my video last time, that this is all financially motivated. But let me continue. At 5 minutes and 19 seconds, they only have pictures with Michael Jackson, but none of them prove or are indicative of child molestation because Michael Jackson spent the same amount of time with Tito Jackson's sons, for example, in the 80s into the 90s. Were they molested too? As well as Emmanuel Lewis. Was he molested too? Exactly. My thing is this. When you are a quote-unquote victim of somebody, you need to have proof. You can't just go based off of, oh, well, I have a picture with me and him, posed like this, or me sitting on his lap, or me doing that. Well, again, according to you, he was the cool uncle, so why wouldn't you sit on his lap? You know what I'm saying? When I was a little kid, I probably sat on my uncle's lap. The two uncles that I got, I'm pretty sure I was hugging them, sitting on their lap. Why not? That's my dad's brother. Or that's my mother's brother. You know what I'm saying? So they're showing these pictures, and by the way, they're very deliberate with the pictures that they use. Very unflattering photos. Especially one of them was like a picture of Michael Jackson with no makeup, his nose exposed, all of these different things. And it's just like, and I said to myself, I said, well, if Michael Jackson were to really have been walking around with no makeup, just the aftermath of the cosmetic surgery that he had done on his face, he had to have trust these people to the point where he felt like they wouldn't judge him for him to walk around exposed like that. That's like the same thing somebody walking around somebody naked. It's like, clearly, they're comfortable with you if they're walking around with no clothes on. So needless to say about somebody like Michael, who was very self-conscious about his looks, if he was walking around looking like that with them, that means he trusted you. And especially he's taking pictures, then clearly he's like, you guys see me for the human being that I am and not, what the world thinks of me. And that wasn't enough for me. Because I'm like, well, what are these pictures supposed to be telling me? You said that he was your uncle. Y'all said that he was a part of your family. So I'm saying pictures of an uncle to these people. At 5 minutes and 27 seconds, they said, an innocent family being conditioned and programmed by a mastermind. Innocence and obliviousness are two different things. And the only parties that could have been oblivious to the alleged molestations were the parents, because you have one parent that was 6 to 8 years older than Michael, and a mother that was 1 year older than him with, dare I say, more interpersonal life experience than Michael Jackson. So how could they have been conditioned and programmed by someone who didn't even have a real childhood? A pre-adolescence, adolescent experiences. The experiences one will get, what I said, the experiences one will get from places where, I said the experiences that one would get from places where you develop interpersonal skills like middle school, high school, college, participating in sports, exploring, romantic options. Michael Jackson didn't have any of that. So if you have some kid that didn't socialize with the real world outside of, again, the music industry, and the music industry is nothing but like a manufactured social construct, for artistry and creativity and shit like that. So he's coming into adulthood not knowing half of what these two, career people, parents know, right? And I said Dominic Sr. and Connie had that experience and were full-fledged adults, whereas Michael was obviously lacking in those areas and was publicly vocal about that. This man literally went on record to say, yeah, I didn't have a childhood. I missed out on a lot. And these discussions became more prominent as he got older. Because I'm a firm believer that, if your childhood was deficient in certain areas, especially like the important ones, that void that you have psychologically or personally is going to be more apparent as you get older. Like, you're going to be like, wow, like I noticed, like, this was there. Like, I didn't have this. Wow, I didn't know that. And I got this far without having it. But all of these people do. And you feel cheated. And people like that, they compensate for those, deficiencies or voids in different ways. So they try to fill those voids in different ways. Michael's way of filling that void was joining families like theirs, hanging out with children, hanging out with animals, people that he felt he could be his genuine, authentic self and not be judged for it. Dare I say he probably felt more comfortable with the Cascios than he did with his own family from, the Jackson family. Probably. All right. Now it says that wasn't something. So I said, how close-knit of a family could you have been if one man that you all didn't know from a grain of salt at one point was able to infiltrate and dismantle your family circle to the point where none of you were aware of what was allegedly what you were allegedly going through, and not even the parents themselves? The math is not mathing. This story does not add up, because there is no way that somebody that, again, because Michael Jackson was not perfect. Michael Jackson was an adult, was a child in an adult's body. Michael Jackson was a full-fledged adult in terms of, the music industry, being an artist, being a creative, a dancer, songwriter, producer, all of those things. He was an adult in terms of his business. Absolutely. But when it came to interpersonal, family, romantic dynamics, Michael Jackson was lacking in those areas. We all know in that Tom Joyner interview on the set of Beat It, and, he asked Michael Jackson, like, oh, well, who are your friends? Michael Jackson said Diana Ross, Jane Fonda is a friend. These people are not really your friends, because I didn't see Jane Fonda at the trials. I didn't see her there. If she was alive, again, I don't really know this one, but I'm just saying. He mentioned industry people. These people are not really your friends like that. They're not. A lot of people were only around Michael Jackson for what they could benefit from him, not for who he was as a person. Because me, again, I'm an adult. All right? I'm grown. I'm a man. With all the life experiences that I have, everything that I've been through, the good, the bad, the ugly, as I grow and I evolve, it's harder to try to take advantage of somebody like me. It's hard to pull one over on me because I done seen it. It's like in boxing, right? A championship fighter, somebody who's a unified champion, undisputed champion in multiple weight classes. Some of my favorite fighters have said, yo, I've seen all the styles already. I've been through the amateurs. I've been through the pros. I've seen it all. So this guy I'm about to fight is not going to show me anything that I haven't been exposed to and experienced already. So somebody who's fake, somebody who's a backstabber, a liar, a fucking copycat, all of, saying a cheater, a promiscuous woman, whatever. I can already recognize these things right away because I've lived life. So I'm saying that to say Dominic and Connie have lived a substantial amount of life to have respective careers and had 2 children at that point. So how is it that this man could have come in and infiltrated your house like that? Unless, again, you were looking for bread or you were getting a check. Again, I don't know. This is the only conclusion that I can come to as of right now. Let's continue. So at 6 minutes and 45 seconds, again, we're going 60 minutes. They said that every time Michael Jackson was in New York, he'd catch up with the Cascio clan. My speculative assumption is that Michael found in the Cascios what I feel he may not have had in his own direct family, which is why he gravitated towards them, which is something that all human beings do. Michael Jackson met Dominic Cascio at the Helmsley Palace Hotel, made a connection, and maintained that connection throughout the rest of his life. It may have been either Dominic Cascio Sr. was a plant, and I talked about that in my original video, espionage, all types of shit. Because when we're dealing with Michael Jackson, we're talking about hundreds of millions, billions of dollars, being generated, okay? And you could watch that video, to get my viewpoint on that. I'm not going to focus on that. Or that he genuinely treated and saw Michael Jackson as a regular person and not a celebrity. Or at least that's how Michael Jackson perceived it. And generally, from what I've seen and heard from people that befriended Michael, is that he appreciated people who treated him like they treated everyone else. Relationships where he wasn't Mr. Jackson. So if Michael Jackson let his guard down, it had to have been because when he met Dominic Cascio Sr., the guy treated him regular. And then he had kids to boot and hang out with and all of that. And Michael Jackson loves kids. So it was a double whammy for him. Right? Because, again, Michael Jackson comes from an era, and let's just be honest, and I've said this before. Michael Jackson was born in 1958. For Michael Jackson to have been born in 1958, again, I don't know how old his parents are, but his parents had to have been born in the 30s, at least, right? So at some point in the 30s, maybe late 20s, early 30s, early mid 30s, I don't know, okay? They came from an era where whiteness was pedestalized. This is facts. This is facts because there are black people today that feel way more comfortable around white people than they do their own people. There are black people today that view white people romantically as a status symbol, a symbol of success. Hey, look at me. I made it because I got a white man or a white girl on my arm. All right. Michael Jackson comes from that era. I'm just saying this is facts. That's not his fault because that was how he was brought up. That was the era that he came from. So if you see Brooke Shields on his arm at the highest zenith point of his career, why do you think he did that? Why do you think he was attracted to white women in the first place? Because that's the era that he came from. They're telling you, hey, get you a white girl when you get rich. When you get rich, get you a white girl. Don't get you a black woman. This is facts. So people who have had deep-rooted issues with their family, they tend to gravitate towards white people for safety and for comfort. Because why else would Michael Jackson want to be around these people if he didn't feel safe and comfortable and seen and valued as a human being? This is why he was with them. This is from one black person judging another black person, and I know this is facts. This is the truth. If Michael Jackson was alive, if I asked him simple questions, Michael, did you feel safe around the Cascios? Yes. Did you feel seen by the Cascios? Yes. Did they treat you like a celebrity or did they treat you like a regular person? He would say they treated him regular. He didn't have to come there with sunglasses and military. He didn't have to do that. He could come there with a t-shirt and some pajamas and some sandals and just walk in there. They go, hey, Michael, we got some pizza for you on the table. That's how it was. That's exactly how it was. People, when they judge Michael Jackson, people literally have to judge Michael Jackson by, again, like real life shit. You can't judge him. You can't judge a book based off of its cover. You can't. You can't judge him based off of his songs. You can't judge him based off of the way he presented himself. You have to judge him based off of the psychology of it. And this is why I've said so many times, a lot of people would not like Michael Jackson. This is facts. Because how is it that this person who is widely regarded as the greatest entertainer of all time, the king of pop, greatest selling artist ever, and felt like he was the loneliest person ever? Was it because everybody that knew him personally and got close to him liked him? And he was the most liked? No, he wasn't. He wasn't. It's like how they say the realest people are the ones that don't have a lot of friends like that. This is true. Michael Jackson, to me, was not a people pleaser. He wasn't. He didn't give off people pleaser energy. People who give off people pleaser energy are the ones that you see mixing with everybody. Michael Jackson was a recluse, and it was hard to get close to him. From like a literal standpoint, it was hard to get close to him. And then it was hard to get close to him personally. Michael Jackson did not open up to a lot of people, and unfortunately, Michael Jackson opened up to all the wrong people. Unfortunately. So anyway, let's continue. So I said, okay, all right. So I said at 8 minutes and 8 seconds, my critique of Michael, okay, is that he should not have been around these people and should have surrounded himself with his own, be it his family or his skin folk, aka black people. Now, I'm gonna say that to say this before, because I have a whole paragraph on that. The reason why I say that, and I probably ended up saying it anyway, is because when you look at all the people that have come out and accused Michael Jackson of sexual molestation, of, sexual assault, all the crazy, evil, nefarious things. Let's just be real. What was their skin color? What race were they? I'm just saying. This is facts. And if I knew Michael Jackson personally, we would have that conversation. I would love to have a conversation with Michael about race and color. I really would. And it would actually be a great conversation, because I don't think me and Michael would agree on everything, because I've had certain life experiences and he's had his, but they would come together and Michael Jackson would understand where I'm coming from. That you are safer with your own people. I'm just saying. Because I'm a black man that when I see the next black woman, melanated human being, an African, I see myself in the next black woman and the next black man. So even if I don't know them, even if I don't agree with them, or our religious beliefs are different, our political views are different, our values are different, I still see myself in them. So if I see a black person hanging off a cliff, I'm going to help them. Unless it's Ike Turner, or some heinous person like that. I'm not helping them. But if it's a respectable black person, a good black person, a good black woman, I am going to help them and I'm going to defend them. This is the truth. Because who was there for Michael Jackson when he was going through it? I know Macaulay Culkin was there. That's cool, right? But his family was there every day. Michael Jackson's family was there with him in 2003. There with him. Every single thing. I saw Janet there. Saw his mother there. Joe Jackson was there, for crying out loud. Randy, Jermaine, Tito, Marlon, they were there. Eddie Griffin was there. He said he rode with Michael Jackson, to a couple of the trials and hearings and stuff. Chris Tucker was there. Your people was there for you. You were safe with us. You don't got to hang out with your pops. You don't have to do that. Because I don't. For my own personal safety reasons. However, there are good black people that Michael Jackson could have surrounded himself with that could have been there for him. A word to LaToya, Conrad Murray was black, but he was the fall guy. We know Conrad Murray was just the pinky on the master hand. You know what I'm saying? When I talk about, the upper echelon, the powers that be, Master Hand is a character from Super Smash Bros. But that's how I like to call it. The Master Hand that took Michael Jackson out, took him off the board. But I can say, having lived the life that I've lived, so far, I know for a 1,000% fact that I am safer and more comfortable with my own people because they are me and I'm them. A white family could never truly accept me. They could be friendly. They might help me out, but I'm not them. I'm not them. I'm not. Anyway, let's continue. He was not a real member of their family, even if he wanted to be. He told himself that he was, or they tried to convince him of that. At the end of the day, it's not what people say, it's what they do. Because actions always speak louder than words, and look at what they're doing to him now. Exactly my point. Michael Jackson thought Jordan Chandler was cool. Must have thought his family was cool too. Because for him to have been hanging out with Jordan, right? That means he had to have met his family. And we heard the voice recording of his father, and I'm gonna put it right here.
This man is going to be humiliated beyond belief. He will not believe it. He will not believe what's going to happen to him. Beyond his worst nightmares. Sell one more record. This attorney I found, I interviewed several, and I picked the nastiest son of a bitch I could find. Once I make that phone call, this guy is just going to destroy everybody in sight. Any devious, nasty, cruel way that he can do it. And I've given him full authority to do that. It'll be a massacre if I don't get what I want. If I go through with this, I win big time. I will get everything I want, and they will be destroyed forever. They will be destroyed. June is going to lose Jordy. She will have no right to ever see him again. Yeah. That's a fact, Dave. That's what's going to happen. Michael's career will be over. Does that help Jordy? Michael's career will be over. And does that help Jordy? That's irrelevant to me.
So we heard it. We heard what his father was saying. He probably thought that they was all good too. They weren't. Gavin Arvizo thought he was cool with the family. He wasn't. He wasn't. This is what I'm saying. I said, I can only imagine the level of hurt he most likely would feel if he were alive today to hear and see what they are saying about him now. Facts. A family he mistakenly chose to open himself up to turned around and did the same thing Gavin Arvizo and Jordan Chandler did to him while he was still here. Because that shit ruined his life. Yeah, you guys got to understand. It's like you're the most famous person in the world and you were beloved by everybody. And then in the span of a week, you went from the most beloved to the most hated and scrutinized and shamed and made fun of for decades after that. It's not even like that shit stopped when he died. No, people kept going. You got comedy skits, people making fun of you, talking about your nose, making fun of you. How do you think that feels? How do you think that feels? These people ruined his life, and then these people are like, he's not even here, but we're still gonna get what we feel we want to get from him. This is facts. I said to the point where he was subjected to public scrutiny worldwide on all sides. But how many of these people that accused Michael Jackson of heinous, evil, and nefarious acts were black? I'll wait. Because you can't tell me. Because there weren't any. I will say that is one piece of foreshadowing in the Michael movie that was accurate, was Joe Jackson saying to Michael that he has a lot to learn about family and the danger of people saying yes to everything you want. Now, I've already went on record and said my piece about Joe Jackson. I've said that in a few videos. However, the whole Cascio segment, it brought me back to what Coleman Domingo said in the movie, which is probably something that Joe Jackson really said to Michael Jackson probably at several points in his life. But yeah, that's true. Even if it's not the family that you're born into, you can have a chosen family of your own people. I'm not saying that a black person can't be friends with a white person. I'm saying that a black person can never be family of a white person. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And I could back that up too with my own personal experiences. Where you think, oh, okay, we cool and all that, but ultimately they're going to do what they need to do for themselves, and your well-being is not a factor in that. Period. I'm speaking from experience, where you think that you are actually family to another white family, but at the end of the day, they are going to make choices that they need to make for themselves, and your well-being is not a factor to them. You step outside a certain box of behavior that they set for you, you're going to see how they really feel about you once you stop behaving how they want you to behave. I've seen it in real time. People are only cool with Michael Jackson as long as he's doing things that they want him to do. And once he stops doing those things, or he says no, this is when you get accusations and allegations. And Michael Jackson is not the first one that this has happened to. This happens to people every day in relationships, in family dynamics. This is not a new theme. This is not exclusive to Michael Jackson. This is why I'm familiar with it. I know. You aren't born into a family that is going to pour into you the way that you need. But at the same time, the devil you know, i.e. Joe Jackson, isn't nearly as bad as the one that you don't know like that. And Michael ran into plenty of those without anyone to watch his back. Not a real woman. Friends that weren't professionals or colleagues that he was paying, siblings that didn't see him as a potential business opportunity for their own careers, Michael only found what he was looking for in animals and children. Why? Because his entire life from the age of 6 and up, he was seen as a socio-economic commodity. Never got the chance to develop the way the average person does, and because of that, he was extremely naive around the wrong people and had deficiencies of character that, again, the average person doesn't normally have, because the average person almost never lives even a fraction of the kind of life that Michael Jackson did. Even most celebrities can't relate. This is facts. So if people say, oh, Michael Jackson is weird, he's strange, he's bizarre, blah, 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 it's because he lived a life you could never possibly understand and was exposed to different things that you were not exposed to. The average person doesn't even know what it's like to have negative, toxic parents. They don't. People can only judge you based off of their perspective and understanding. And from when they're understanding, from where they're standing, they can never recognize these things in someone else's life because they don't know it. They can't understand, that language because that's not the life that they lived. And this is why, again, people misjudge Michael Jackson a lot, not understanding, the psychology behind the person, not the artist. Not the artist. This is not a conversation about Michael Jackson's music, him as a dancer, singer, writer. This has nothing to do with none of that. We're literally talking about social dynamics and psychology. This is what we're talking about, and this is what I'm trying to explain to people so you can get it. Your whole life as an adult is literally shaped and predicated on your childhood and the parents that you had and the family that you were born into. Word to Jaleel White. He said, the first miracle a child can ever experience is the family that they're born into. And some of us are born on third base, meaning some people are born in good positions and some people are born in bad positions. Michael Jackson was somebody that, from a psychological standpoint, was not born into the best situation because his father, prioritized success and money and accolades over his child's own mental, emotional development and well-being. And he put his own needs before the needs of his children. And there wasn't any balance. Because if you're talking about kids that school was on the back burner and then they were just going from city to city performing and doing nightclubs and strip clubs and all that shit, it's like, yeah, your dad is neglecting your well-being, to try to cash out in the long run. And yeah, they might have all cashed out and went to the bank. But what happens is down the line, like I said earlier, these deficiencies are going to show. It's like you have a dog, right? And you adopt a dog from a puppy. You never take that dog outside. You never socialize that dog with other dogs. You don't train it. The basics to sit, lay down, bark, roll over and all of that. And then when you finally take that dog, and let's say when that dog finally comes out and goes out into the world and goes to his first dog park at, let's say, 5, 6, 7 years old, and it's a full-fledged adult in dog years, that dog's not going to know how to act because his whole entire life, he's never been in those social dynamics. So compared to other dogs, that dog is going to act weird. And you can't blame the dog because its owners never developed those parts of him. That is Michael Jackson. That is Michael Jackson right there. I get it. This is why I say I could have been his friend. A lot of people, y'all can only be his fans. You could not be Michael Jackson's friend. You could not talk to him about real life shit. You can't. You could not. You can't. You could not relate to this man from a personal dynamic because a lot of y'all motherfuckers ain't been through real ass shit. You don't know real adversity. And I'm not talking about, adversity, you've been through a breakup. Adversity, you didn't have a lot of money. No, I'm talking about adversity that your parents were not there for you. Your parents, abused you. Your parents neglected you. They didn't come to your rescue when you needed them. That you didn't have certain experiences that other kids had. And you're looking at other kids like, damn, like they got it all and me, I don't have anything. Because you didn't get the basic love and nurturing that you needed. I get it. So I could watch the clip that they tried to show at whatchamacallit, was it the Living with Michael Jackson segment? I'm like, yeah, I see it. Most people don't, because again, you don't get it because you never been through anything like that. You have to have been through that in order to understand it. Y'all don't get it. And that's fine, but it's like you can't judge if you don't know the criteria to judge this person off of. Y'all don't get it. People judge people just based off of the optics, but nothing real substantial to back up that judgment. Damn. All right, so where did I leave off? Okay, I said, okay, yeah, all right. So I said at 9 minutes, false sense of reality. He made us feel like we were his family, his kids, everything. And I said, well, that went both ways, because why else would the parents allow Michael Jackson to spend time around his kids if they didn't feel the same way? And why would they allow him to do that if they had any sort of inkling that he meant harm towards their children? He allowed you into his inner circle because your parents allowed him into theirs. People can't go into a home that they aren't welcome. This wasn't a breaking and entering into your life. You all allowed him in there and continue to do so well into your adulthood. 9 minutes in, where's the proof? Where is the proof? And I know there wasn't any, but I kept asking myself, where's the proof? Where's it at? Because there's something powerful that I'm going to say, a lot later on. I'm going to save it for then. But again, where's the proof? 9 minutes in, it's just still, he said, she said. Now, I had to switch cameras because, my camera's always dying these days. I got to get a second battery. So, at 9 minutes and 38 seconds in, when you have the biggest superstar in the world in the 80s that wants to be your friend, this is what they said, you're vulnerable. Easily manipulated in that sense. I said manipulated by what? How could you be vulnerable, easy manipulated? The only way someone could be vulnerable or manipulated in that instance is if they had something to gain from said superstar. And what is there to gain for Dominic and Connie Cascio? It's not necessarily fame, even though they have notoriety now, infamy. The perks that come with associating with a superstar, which would be what? As of yet, I don't see them going on trips with Michael Jackson yet. So what did those two really stand to gain by being associated with the king of pop? Money? Money! So again, let's say this is true. Your parents sold you out for money. Because in all of these pictures, all I see, all they tried to show was the Cascio kids going on trips, taking pictures on the bed, doing all of these things, sitting on his lap. I didn't see the parents in any of these pictures. Any of them. So it says, so I said, so again, let's say this is true. Your parents sold you out for money. Michael Jackson had to go through your parents in order to get to you, allegedly. And that meant your innocence as children, according to your mother and father, had a price tag and was up for sale. If it meant dollars and cents, cars and private flights. So what are we talking about right now? People say that frequently about R. Kelly and Diddy exploiting underage children, but in order for them to have done that, they had to go through the parent or legal guardian in order to do so. And I talked about this earlier. So I say that to say this. People have to really ask themselves the most important questions. And the most important question is, how did Michael Jackson have this 100% untapped access to these children? If this is in fact the case, how did he have access like that? The way that he had access was through the parents. And again, no sane parent on this entire earth is going to give a random stranger, a famous stranger or celebrity, let's say, total ownership and access, in private to their children just off of the basis of them being famous. Okay? I like Will Smith. For example, Will Smith is one of my childhood heroes. Will Smith is my childhood hero. That man is basically my dad. Just like I said about Michael Jackson, everything that you see from me comes from a few people, that I know in real life and also heroes of mine. Will Smith is one of them. Just because I hold Will Smith in this high regard does not mean that I'm going to be giving Will Smith total legal guardianship of my kids. What type of sense does that make? No real parent is going to do that, especially if they're not related whatsoever. It's like, because what would Michael Jackson have done in order to gain their trust like that, if in fact that is the case? Because any way you answer that question, any way you slice it, if they're saying that they were easily manipulated just because he was the biggest superstar in the 80s and wanted to be their friend, then that means they were bought by his fame. He didn't even have to cut a check. He just had to just stroll up in there and be famous. And we know that is not, an unfamiliar trope. There's a lot of people that can be manipulated by somebody's fame and then just will fall into their lap or fall into their arms just off of the basis of how much money they have and how many people in the world know them. So anyway, so I said, where were the parents? What were they doing? Why didn't they stop it? How could they not know what was happening and check in on their children? No normal parent is letting their children cross state or national borders with someone they don't trust. Someone that could potentially harm their children unless there was a pot of gold at the end of it for them. And according to the Cascios, according to their story, that was the case. But let's absolve the parents and blame the black man. No, I'm not buying it. I am not buying it. And these are things that I said yesterday. So, as of yet, if this story is true, which is not, but let's say if it was, and again, like I said in the beginning, I'm judging this based off of me being a layman and the questions that I'm asking. Like it's like if this was a movie and you're talking back to the TV, right? These are the questions that I'm going to ask. So on the parents. Anyway, 10 minutes and 8 seconds. The fuck, it won't let me scroll. At 10 minutes and 8 seconds, I said, I'm an actor, film and stage, and this was hands down the fakest, worst, pseudo-emotional display I've seen in years, and was the impetus for me even doing this with a sense of urgency, because there is absolutely no way that anyone could possibly believe that. And before I read the rest of my response, I'm going to put the clip on. Because I said, no, there's no way somebody's buying this. And I'm glad that I timestamped it so I don't have to go through and search for it, because I know exactly which part I'm talking about. And for anybody that's a Disney fan and has seen,
doesn't mean starting from scratch.
Anybody that's a Disney fan and has seen Toy Story 2, y'all know Aldo Cascio looks just like Al from Al's Toy Barn, but except Aldo ain't bald yet. And I already see a couple of patches, so I already see the hairline receding. He looked just like this dude. I was like, who he look like?
Set the stage for grotesque and sustained sexual abuse. Not against just one, but all of them.
God, this was the worst thing to live with. Imagine your kid, a little kid with a little backpack going to school, and on his mind is he's having sex with the biggest entertainer in the world, and he's abusing him, and you can't say anything about it.
What the? Seems like, it's like, when I watched that shit the first time, and he reminded me of like Patrick Star crying. Like that's all I heard. Hold on, let me look at this guy. It's like, again, I am an actor. I've done theater shows. I've done, a few independent short films, things like that. And so I know the difference between someone who is being true to the moment, which is what acting really is, okay? If you're a good actor, you're not acting. You're literally being true to whatever that moment is for that character that you're portraying, right? You're not trying to act. You're being in the moment. This dude is trying to act. He is acting. He is faking emotion. Because it's like, again, I cry at movies. I say that shit. I've cried at Disney movies. I've cried at all types of films. The reason why is because they are showing the truth to the moment, even if it's just a movie, but the emotions are real. Therefore, it's going to affect me in that type of way, right? So it's like you have someone who has been truly traumatized, someone who has truly been victimized and been through abuse and again, molestation and all types of shit. When you get these people to talk about that, first of all, it's hard to get them to talk about the shit because psychologically they don't want to go there. Even me, there are certain things in my life that I would not really want to talk about, and I probably couldn't talk about it without getting visibly emotional, where you can see it. You know what I'm saying? This dude, you don't come off as somebody that has been traumatized or abused. You come off as somebody that this is the fourth or fifth take that they prepped you for. They gave you all talking points, a script, things to say, and they're like, okay, Aldo, we need you to be, sad. We need you to motion. We're going to need a lot of facial expression. We're going to need you to do that. Okay, you guys ready? Lights, camera, action. Go ahead, Aldo. And then this is the shit that he did. I'm not buying it. It's like, bro, I've seen real victims. I've seen people that have really went through some shit, and when they talk about it, yo, they break all the way down to the point where, yo, they can't even be on camera because it's that bad. Like, they can't communicate anymore. If this is as bad as you say it is, there's no way that you can. And then even if you can get through the sentence, even if you can get through the part, you can't. You're in pieces. To the point where they're gonna say, you know what, we'll give you an hour, we'll give you some time to get yourself together, and you'll come back. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. And anyone, even a Michael Jackson hater, there's no way you can believe this shit. There's absolutely, positively no way that anyone can believe that. Because I don't. Like I said, I went into this saying, all right, show me something. I want to see it. If he is in fact guilty, if Michael Jackson in fact did all of these things to you, prove it. Prove it. I'll wait. They have not proved it yet, least of all with this dude. And I already say, which I put it in my notes anyway, anytime this dude opens his mouth or tries to have some sort of emotional display, bro, he ruins it for everybody. So any shred of, any shred of credibility or believability that these people have gets ruined every time this guy tries to simulate any sort of emotion whatsoever. And he's like the tallest one there, and he literally that's like he has the face of a short person. And then when I seen them all, wow, I'm like, bro, this dude is like 6 feet tall. But then like he's just, again, he's just giving Al's Toy Barn from Toy Story. It's like I can't even unsee it now. Y'all can see it. I can't unsee it. Seriously. All right, so let's continue because I just had to show that clip just for y'all to see it. All right, so anyway, okay. There's absolutely no way. Okay, so I said that looked like the most rehearsed scene ever, and it didn't even work. I said, I wonder how many takes it took for them to get the right take. No real tears, forced facial expressions, trying to convince audience of some made-up trauma, and I'm somehow supposed to believe it because he's white and the alleged perpetrator is black. Anyone that's dealt with real trauma, you will not only see the emotions, but you will feel it, which I pretty much explained anyway. I said, I'm as empathetic as they come, and I didn't feel not one shred of anything real from that whatsoever. I've been through a lot in my own personal life, and I know there are stories, be it breakups or hurtful situations that I never forgot that I can't tell without being visibly emotional to the point of tears. And this dude tried to fake something like that, and you can't fake it. You cannot fake that. I'm an actor. I know what I'm talking about. What's happening now is literally what happened to Emmett Till and black men decades and hundreds of years ago. Decades and hundreds of years ago, where a black man was accused of something he didn't do by a white man or woman, and all they had to do was feign emotion or cry crocodile tears to rally the angry lynch mob. I'm watching that sort of history repeat itself in 2026 on 60 Minutes in Australia, a country, from my understanding, which has a long history of racism against its own Aboriginal and dark-skinned Australians. Just like America, again, I'm not buying it. All I heard was Patrick start crying when I seen this dude carrying on. 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Like I said, we're doing the whole 60 minutes. I'm tearing this whole thing apart. Tearing it to shreds. You're having sex with the biggest entertainer in the world and you can't say anything about it. BS, because according to your siblings, you were a close-knit family. Why wouldn't you be able to either A, talk to your parents and tell them what is happening to you, or B, at least confide in each other? How? Unless you all didn't even feel safe with your parents to tell them that you were being victimized, and that, again, highlights the real problem, which is your parents. If this is in fact true, which it isn't, because you still haven't proved anything, y'all should have been able to talk to each other if y'all are so close. If I got a brother and I'm telling everybody that, oh, yo, we're close, we talk to each, we're close, that's my brother, we're like this, but yet I go through something and I feel like I can't even tell him. I got 4, 5, 6 siblings. I'm going through hard times. I'm going through some sort of struggle and I can't talk to them about anything. Then you're not really a close-knit family. I said later on in the notes, I said, y'all might as well have been estranged because you had no idea what was going on in each other's lives whatsoever. That's not a real family. Again, that doesn't add up because none of these things happen. But these are the questions that I'm going to ask, because these are the real questions you ask when you're being told stories like this. And it doesn't add up because all of it is a lie. Anyway, So I said 10 minutes and 30 seconds. The corniest shot of them walking up to the bench. I said, what is that? Manufactured, fake, not believable. They look like knockoff Power Rangers. The rendition of Friends that couldn't even get a pilot episode. No wonder they had to go all the way down to Australia to get this out there, because this whole thing is a waste of time. We're going to get a shot of you guys walking up towards the bar, and we're going to get a shot of you all looking sad. Okay, are you ready? Lights, camera, action, and background. Remember, look sad, guys. Action. 60 minutes, more like 60 seconds to tell these people. I said more like it. So I said more like it only takes 60 seconds to tell that these people are just looking for a cash grab. Eddie, Dominic, Marie, and Aldo, more like the doors from Snow White. Itchy, ugly, scratchy, and shitty. So 12 minutes and 3 seconds. Michael started to get closer to them. He said the first kiss and what started the molestation. Now here's my thing. They, as of right now, only have stories. Let's say I have an aunt, and I've been to her house 1,000 times throughout my life. I can turn around and accuse her of molesting me when I was a kid and create all of these stories that allegedly happened, and if there was no cameras, no witnesses to these stories, there's no way to really prove or disprove it. There's no way to prove or disprove it, and this is all... Wait, what? I said, okay, there is really no way to really prove or disprove it, and this is all that they have to bank on. Are these stories... Oh, I said, and this is all that they have to bank on. Oh my gosh. I said, there is no way to really prove or disprove it, and this is what they all bank on. All these stories that they all create and try to make them as graphic and grotesque as possible to create shock value, so people have no choice but to paint the picture in their heads and say there's no way to make it up. I said in my previous rant, if something really happened to you, you'll be able to prove it. Not only with tangible evidence, but real witnesses who were there, hospital records, paraphernalia, actual scars, etc. So when it is brought up in court, in the court of law, it checks out. For example, Ike Turner, who was by far one of the most nefarious and disgusting humans to ever walk the earth, and an embarrassment to black men, he abused Tina Turner for damn near 2 decades, if not 20 years, because he was with her for a long time. The man used to beat the woman senseless, put her in the hospital on multiple occasions, didn't allow her to speak in interviews, which y'all can look up. People around them were well aware of the abuse, to the point where a man in his 80s was interviewed and asked if how Ike and Tina were depicted in the movie was true. And he said it was. Marital rape, and he didn't even, want to let her keep her name, and took all of her assets, which speaks to the true nature of their relationship. She never had anything good to say about the man. Another, Diddy. When they raided his home, they found sexual paraphernalia, freak-off tapes, gallons upon gallons of Johnson & Johnson baby oil, some kept in temperature-regulated briefcases. When they went to Neverland Ranch and flipped his house upside down, they found nothing. This is a question for the Michael Jackson haters out there, especially the obsessed ones, and I know exactly who I'm talking about. Don't you think if they found at least a shred of tangible evidence that could be used against him in the court of law, they would have capitalized on that and threw the book at him? Don't you think that would have been the case? Come on. Real culprits always have a paper trail. Real culprits always have a paper trail that the real victims can use, whereas these guys don't have anything beyond the stories they made up together, hoping that people will buy into. So there's a difference between real victims and real perpetrators, and then the fake victims, and then the innocents that get accused. There is levels to it. So when you look at real cases, and I know I say this later on in my notes, but I'm just going to bring it up now anyway. Again, when Cassie called out and accused Diddy of abuse, sex trafficking, all types of shit, I remember the legal document that was floating on the internet. And then this was even before, the hotel footage came out. Right? And I remember I read through the majority of it, or at least most of it, until it got so bad to the point I was like, nah. And I said, there's no way you can make that type of stuff up. And what was actually in the legal document, I forgot what it was called, was what happened in the hotel room, which was the footage that actually got released to the public. So she had receipts. And then even when she went to the house, so she was talking about the baby oil and all of that. When they went to the house, they found everything that she was talking about in the document. Or the charge that got filed. The lawsuit that was filed. And the accusations. They found everything. So all of these people accused Michael Jackson of this, this, and that. But then when they went to the house, they didn't find anything. And they went to his house unannounced. It's not like these people, well, I never know. Diddy did kind of know that they were coming. That's why he wasn't there, you know, when they raided the damn house. But Michael Jackson didn't know that they were coming. You know what I mean? Especially like they you know, raided his house. They trashed it. They did all of the things that they did, and they found nothing. I'm pretty sure they found like one piece of like evidence, something that they could use. They would have got him and put him in jail for at least some amount of time, at least, because that's what they wanted to do. Put him behind bars. They didn't find anything. Real perpetrators have a paper trail, something to go off of. And even if not the baby oil, bro, she had pictures of bruises and scars, you know, from the physical domestic violence that was inflicted upon her. She had receipts. These people don't have receipts. Let's continue. 13 minutes and 10 seconds. I said, perfect example. You say you took baths with him. You say you took baths. Damn, why can't I say that? Perfect example. You say you took baths with him. Where's the proof? Where is it at? That's not something you can really use in court because you can't prove that. He said, I guess in the video, he was like, on the tour. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Almost every night. I need proof. Where does James Safechuck and Wade Robson fit into all of this? Where does Jordan Chandler fit into all of this? How does his career fit into all of this? Or was he just a full-time child molester and the king of pop in his spare time? I don't get it. These are the questions that you ask when there isn't a shred of evidence or proof beyond he said, she said. As long as you are at someone's house, you can say you did anything while you were there without any proof. And in this world, if you're white, people will automatically assume you are telling the truth when the culprit is black 9 times out of 10. And when you are being accused, how can you disprove it? The same can be said for the accuser. How can you prove it beyond, oh, trust me, it happened? Get out of here. Before I get to the nasty part, I want to say this. And I did a quick take video about this. I talked about Ashlee Jenae, who, for those of you who don't know, she was a black content creator, a lifestyle content creator, a soft girl. And she was in a relationship with a significantly older white man, right? And her whole social media was basically revolved around being in an interracial relationship. So they were like a social media couple. And this is something that you see a lot now, you know, with black women, white guy couples, and they're just showing off the fact that they're in an interracial couple. Hey, look at me, I'm with a white guy. I got a white guy on my arm. Anyway, and long story short, they went to Tanzania, which I'm assuming, is a country in Africa. And she was killed. I think South Africa. Anyway, she got killed. He proposed to her like the day before, and then the next day they found her dead in the hotel. And I say that because if no one was there isn't any hotel surveillance, right? How can we prove that he did it? How can we prove that he didn't do it? He can get off scot-free because not only has the complexion for protection, and those of you who are black, you know what I mean by that. No one was around. There were no witnesses. So how can we prove that? No one was there. So even if there is an investigation, it's only going to go but so far because there's nothing to prove that he in fact did it. So if I'm a lawyer and I want to put this guy behind bars, even though I feel like he did it, but that's a different story. I talk about that in my video. But if I want to prove that he's guilty, I need tangible evidence and proof to prove that he in fact is the murderer, that he killed her. But if I can't prove that, then my hands are tied. So technically, even though I feel he's guilty, by, you know, legal moral standards, he is innocent until he can be proven guilty. Right? So with these people, like I said, you need proof. Show me. I want to see it. If you can prove him guilty, prove it. I'm waiting, but they don't have it. And neither do any of these obsessed ass Michael Jackson haters and the people that, you know, sit up there and have YouTube channels dedicated purely to Michael Jackson being guilty, but you can't even prove it yourself. So what the fuck? are you dedicating your life to? So anyway, now this is the nasty part. This is where shit gets really nasty. So they said the booty rumble. And then he said, oh, I was like 8 years old. And this is just disgusting. I don't even know how you come up with these things. He said, and Michael was and Michael was allegedly doing all of that to you. And not one of you thought to tell on him to your parents. I said at 8 years old, I was telling on people some shit was happening that I didn't like every time. And no, my parents were not Michelle and Barack Obama, but I doubt they would allow something nefarious to happen to me by a random adult and not intervene. Like I said before, it doesn't take 30 years for you to realize that you were abused and traumatized. Victims don't stand by their accusers because you weren't a prisoner or a victim of Stockholm Syndrome. So you weren't kept in a basement in the dungeons of Neverland, you know, and you didn't see the light of day until he decided to let you out of the cage, out of the cell. It doesn't add up. This is such lies. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, like, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can. I'm like, bro, this, like, if this was a trial against Terrence Howard, and I'm not I like Terrence Howard, but I'm not the biggest fan of him. Well, I'm trying to think of somebody that I particularly don't care for. But let's say if it was some other black celebrity that I don't really care for, I would ask myself these same questions if I cared enough to dive into this. It's because this is Michael Jackson, so I care enough to pay attention to this. But it's like if it was someone else, yeah, I'm like, well, no, this is BS. This is BS. So I said Michael Jackson had a life outside of y'all, and he got married and went on to have 3 children of his own to look after. 60 Minutes wasn't looking for facts. They were looking for lies. And I said, where was Lisa Marie in all of this? Who went on record to say that she never saw anything devious when it came to children and Michael. So she was just never around, just like their parents? Even though Lisa said that even after their divorce, she was still meeting with Michael during the history tour. So how does she fit into their narrative unless Michael Jackson had the ability to be at multiple different places at once or clone himself? 15 minutes and 24 seconds. Again, all of this is happening. Where on earth are your parents? But you're all close-knit. You might as well call yourselves estranged, like I said earlier. Because you all have no clue what was going on in each other's lives, unless your brother was in on it, which makes him just as culpable too. It continued on for a few years after that. And I'm quoting that because I said these are not real explanations that can hold up in the court of law. How? If Michael Jackson had his own children at that point and had sole custody of them and a career to manage at that point, what is she even saying, or who could honestly buy into this unless they didn't like Michael Jackson to begin with? And if I'm saying that, I'm clearly talking about Marie Cascio, who, you know, isn't the youngest, but by the time she said that the abuse was happening was what? The first time was in 2000, she said? So it's like, but at that point, Michael Jackson already had kids. So why would he be abusing you if he already has kids to look after and a career at that point? It's like it's almost as if Michael Jackson was never in the studio. Michael Jackson never had performances. Michael Jackson didn't have children. He didn't have a career to manage at that point. It's like he was just sitting, you know, at home and just picking which one of the Cascio kids to abuse on any given day. Whichever one he felt like abusing today, he just felt like doing it. Like he had all of this downtime. I don't get it. Okay, so then I said these accusations are so heinous and gay. It's laughable because now they are alleging that Michael Jackson was sucking dick. I said, bro, come on. With no proof as of yet, none whatsoever. Now at 1755, and I'm pretty sure this is Al, you know, Al from Al's Toy Barn. Said at 1755, this dude is smirking at what should be the most traumatic moment of his life. Let's go. Let's run the clip. Let's run the clip. 1755, please.
Me again, and he would masturbate while looking at me.
That's disgusting.
Exposed.
That's disgusting.
And
I don't believe it. All the women in the world, and he wants to do that. That
occurred many times.
Given how truly awful these acts were, it's hard to fathom how these children could see them as normal or wish to be anywhere near the pop star. But they say, such was his magnetism and manipulation, all they could do was clamour to be by his side. His hold over them was incredible.
The first time he really abused me, I was laying in bed with him, and I was just playing my Game Boy, and he just pulled down my shorts, like real smooth. And he started giving me oral sex.
That's gay.
And right away, doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that feel good? See, I love you. I love you. This is how much I love you. I can make you feel good.
See, look at this nigga's face. Look at his face. Is this the face of trauma, or the face of somebody that's just making something up? I'm not buying it. Against their will, this is not the way that they tell that story. No way. No way. I'm not buying it.
Good.
Look at this. Look at his face right here. A smile.
I can make you feel good.
What? No. Nah, bro. Nah. Not only is this story disgusting, but it's just a lie. And it's not adding up. To me, it's not.
And I had no idea what sex was. I had no idea that this was inappropriate. He raped me. And masked it into the love. Into love. This.
Why are you Oh shit. Why are you laughing?
This fake love.
Yo, bro. This is just disgusting. Anyway, all right, let's continue. Let's continue. So then, by that logic, I met Vanity in the late 90s when I was a little kid. And she said when I turned 18, she'd be my wife. And when we met up to consummate our marriage, and she laid it on me in the hotel, that didn't happen. That did not happen. But you see how easily somebody can just make up a story and create a story? And if the person is famous enough and you got enough money to waste on legal representation, yo, you can create a case. Whether or not it'll stick and you can prove it is a different story. But you see how I literally just made up a story in 2 seconds. I can get all elaborate as I want and nasty and freaky, but it didn't happen unless I can prove it. They haven't proved anything yet. I said, bro, it didn't happen. These people are banking on their whiteness to carry their lies. This should have been on Saturday Night Live or Comedy Central. Key and Peele need to come back and spoof this, or Marlon Wayans, because this is a sick joke. He said he had no idea what sex was at that point, so did that take place before or after the alleged booty rumble? Come on. You said you were sexually assaulted and you are wide-eyed and smiling. This don't even match the emotion he failed to show in the beginning. 60 minutes, I'm 17 minutes in and the furthest from convinced. Now at 1835. Now, this moment says a lot about the platform of 60 Minutes, whatever media company this is behind all of this. It says they called him Wacko Jacko. So I already know what type of news platform this is. I haven't even heard that term in years, and they literally brought that back and used the most unflattering photo they could have possibly used. The fact that Michael would even walk around no makeup like that just showed how much he trusted these people. I don't even know if he let the rest of the Jackson family see him like that. 19 minutes and 10 seconds. So according to Frank, Michael was just sucking everybody off. There are no actual dates and times to back any of these stories up. Like I said, anybody can make up a story, but not everybody can prove that it happened. And again, they still haven't done that other than saying nasty shit. Said that Michael said to him what promiscuous women say to me. Say to men all the time. Oh, I'm only doing this with you. This is just disgusting. And then they were talking about drinking urine. Like, this is so disgusting. And they're using shock value to get people to feel away. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they don't want people to think and ask real questions. They just want people to feel the disgust and the shock, and then use that and leverage the way that people feel. Like, wow, he was doing that. And then they're showing one unflattering picture and be like, oh yeah, because of how he looks in this picture, he probably did all the nasty shit that they said that he did, which is, again, cap. Because Michael Jackson was not sucking dick and he was not drinking pee. That's disgusting. That is nasty. That is disgusting. And the parents state that they asked their kids what was going on and they denied anything well into their adulthood until they saw Leaving Neverland. Not living with Michael Jackson or any of the many news reports about the original child molestation case in the 90s. That means their parents failed, because technically your parents are supposed to be the end-all be-all for safety and well-being for a child. And because their children felt they weren't the parents... Wait, what? Oh, okay. Oh, because the children felt they weren't, the parents are the facilitators to the alleged abuse. Talking about, drinking urine. Yeah, that's disgusting. Yeah. That's gross. That is nasty. That is disgusting. Anyway, 20 minutes and 10 seconds. Eddie thought that he was Michael Jackson's soulmate and special friend. And he was raised, brought up, and conditioned by Michael Jackson instead of his own parents. Wow. And he said that they were programmed to be his soldiers. All right. Now, I gotta mention this because this is something that D.L. Hughley said. And he said this years ago on like DJ Vlad somewhere. And again, I'm using his logic, not mine. But it's just like, the question that I want to ask this man is, are you gay? And to like confirm his sexual preference and his sexual orientation. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, all right, by the time you get older, usually most people, I mean, usually most people know what their sexual orientation is and what their sexual preferences are. All right. So if you as a kid are attracted to girls and you are heterosexual, why would you engage in these homosexual acts with this guy, which are contrary to your own sexual preferences, just because he's Michael Jackson? And then that means if you didn't like it, then why would you not tell your parents or tell somebody that these things are going on if that's actually the case? So this is what I would ask them, like, are y'all gay? Like, what? Because now this is what D.L. Hughley said. He was like, yo, you, according to, it's like, bro, according to you, you had a boyfriend at that point, bro.
How come I don't care if you pop your collar or wear one. If you fucking with kids, you should go to jail.
Absolutely.
Like it was one dude said he was molested by his priest from the time he's 13 to the time he's 28. Now, if your priest still fucking you at 28, you got a boyfriend. Like come on, that's good. But I think everybody who does anything to harm children, regardless of their status, should go to jail.
Because for real, it's like, yo, the way that you're talking about this man, even to this day now, that you thought that you were his soulmate, bro. Yo, it's like, yo, like you, no, and the thing is, you got kids. You have kids. I don't know. Because again, I think as a child, yo, it's like, all right, I hate chocolate. And I always hated chocolate ever since I was a very little kid. Nobody could make me eat chocolate because I don't want to do it. And nobody can make me do something I don't want to do. If I don't want to do something, I'm not doing it. Right? So for them, it's just like, I'm just not buying it. The math ain't mathing unless you're gay. You know what I'm saying? Because then if that was the case and you really did think that he was your soulmate, then your sexual preferences today would have been predicated on the shit that he was doing to you back in the day. If that's the case, right? Because again, we're going to psychology. It's like women that are lesbian, not all, but some, you know, were abused as a child by somebody, and that abuse had a massive impact on their sexual orientation and or preferences. This is facts. So all of you are heterosexual, but y'all was doing all of that back in the day, and then you didn't like it, but you didn't tell anybody? I don't know. That's disgusting. That is nasty. Like, these people, again, they're banking on shock value. According to Eddie, he was abused the longest, and he was abused until he was 22 years old. This is what I'm saying. You're like, are you gay?
Now, if your priest still fucking you at 28, you got a boyfriend. Like, come on, that's good.
Like, I don't get it. I really don't. I really don't. Because for you to have been doing that, especially well into your 20s, bro, you're gay. I'm just saying, bro. You roll that way. LGBTQ. You entitled to that, but just say that. Which means the alleged abuse took place started in 1988 at age 6 and went up until 2004, which is before Michael Jackson was acquitted on all charges in 2005. And even in his early 20s, he thought he was Michael Jackson's soulmate, which would make him a conscious and willing participant in homosexual acts, which would make him gay. His manhood was taken away, and he didn't think to approach his parents, the police, even a therapist, about what was allegedly happening against his will. Not adding up, still with no dates, no proof, nothing. He has children, but he isn't gay apparently. But you according to you, he was your soulmate, right? 2216. Michael's focus was apparently on 11-year-old Eddie Cascio in 1993, when that same year he was accused of sexual molestation by Jordan Chandler in August of 1993. Not buying it. 24:29, 24 minutes, 29 seconds. Now he's saying that Michael Jackson supplied alcohol to minors and referred to them as Jesus juice or Disney juice. Cool. Where are the medical records that would show intoxication? Where were the parents? Again, they were in New Jersey living in an empty house while their children were out being sexually assaulted and illegally supplied drugs and alcoholic drinks. She said that Michael gave her Xanax and Vicodin at 11 years old. Prove it. Prove it. Because before I go on, it's like, these are what's widely considered to be hardcore prescription drugs, and none of them wound up in a hospital where they could furnish toxicology reports and medical records that can show and prove they in fact took the drugs, which would then involve police who would then pursue Michael for supplying them. I don't know any sort of 11-year-old that could be drinking alcohol, taking drugs, hardcore drugs like Xanax and Vicodin, and not, get sick physically and end up in the hospital. There's no way. There is absolutely no way. Because I believe, one, I don't drink and I don't smoke, but I believe a child that is exposed to alcohol, depending on what the amounts were according to them, but I'm pretty sure they would say that they were supplied massive amounts, massive quantities of alcohol. I would assume that they would have some sort of, health complications now. Because ain't no child can sit there and drink, hard liquor and wine and all that, and then not have any sort of liver problems or kidney issues. If y'all was drinking it up, with him back in the day, prove it. Prove it. Be like, yo, he had me drinking Xanax and Vicodin and all that. I wound up in the hospital on March 3rd, 1999. And then it shows, that the toxicology report will show, in their system that they took these said drugs. Prove it. Because there's no kid that has an immune system, that has a body that can actually handle that. No way. Even an adult cannot, take a Xanax pill and a Vicodin and then drink, a Hennessy or vodka, and then not end up with some shit. After a while, especially according to how they're spinning the story, this is a frequent recurring thing. He didn't just do that one time. They made it seem like, he was doing that shit all the time. Anyway, let's continue. Okay, so I said they're using the fact that Michael Jackson was taking prescription drugs for pain and sleep as an alibi for their story. BS. If this happened, prove it, show receipts, which they don't have any. Just trust me, bro. That's all they got. 25 minutes and 47 seconds. So Michael Jackson is over there passing out. Oh, right. Okay. So she said that Michael Jackson was passed out, and that they were the only ones there to help him in Neverland. Apparently, wherever they were. They didn't say where they were, what month it happened, any pictures. They don't have anything. And I said, so Michael Jackson's over there passing out, and the only ones around, able to get help were little kids who aren't related to him. No one else, no employees, no Bill Bray, no security, nobody, no assistant, no nothing. When did this take place? Month, year, the day of the week, the hospital that he was taken to, the medical officials that tended to him, records of his stay, witnesses other than the Cascios. Where? Oh, right. I should just trust you. I should just trust your skin color, huh? I should just take you for your word, huh? Well, y'all said the same thing about those Michael songs, that ended up on the Michael album 2009. Turns out that they were fake. I was supposed to trust you then, right? Those songs were fake. I didn't trust you then. I'm not going to trust you now. I said, no one was around, and a bunch of kids had to help the best they could because he was an addict. I said, she's just making this up as she goes with these pauses trying to find the words, and they are particular in the pictures that they are using. Let's roll the clip. 25 minutes and 47 seconds. Roll the clip, please.
Being a member of the Applehead Club for the Cascio children meant, along with sexual abuse, Jackson plied them with recreational drugs, strong painkillers, sedatives, and alcohol.
Prove it. These pictures are not
He
proof.
introduced me to alcohol at a young age.
Prove it.
Jesus juice, which was wine.
Prove it.
Disney juice, which was hard liquor. And also with the drugs, it was, he always had like Vicodin that he would give me, or Xanax.
Prove it.
And then he would say like, oh, like it's gonna make you float. It's gonna make you float. You're gonna feel great. And then he'd be like, here, have a sip of this. This will make it work faster.
Very strong painkillers with alcohol.
Yeah. He was not gonna steer me wrong, is what I thought. So this is okay.
Right. Oh my gosh. Non-existent parents. Y'all didn't have parents.
Gave me Xanax and Vicodin at 11 years old.
No, he did not.
And told me
Show
I'd be
it.
floating. And I would love it.
And y'all and none of y'all knew that this was happening to each other. None of y'all knew that this was happening. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I do not buy it. Kids talk. Kids talk. Like I do not buy it, bro, for 1 second. And not one time did they allege physical abuse at the hands of Michael Jackson, which would then say, okay, the reason why I didn't say anything was because he used to beat me. Then I would have kind of bought that, and then that would have actually left a paper trail like, yo, look, I have scars. Michael Jackson did this. He did that. Right? Prove it. Prove that these things happen to you. Kids are not taking Vicodin and Xanax and drinking hard liquor. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying this.
All the Cascio children were also confronted by Jackson's frightening decline as his own drug taking and drinking got out of control.
I think this is
There were many times where Michael would overdose on drugs in front of us, and we would have to run to get help. And we would be panicking.
It sounds like a nightmare.
And then, all right, great. So if you had to run and get help, where are these people to substantiate those claims? And can validate that? Validate the story, corroborate the story. It's like you can't prove these things happen. You have to prove it.
It was so traumatic. So traumatic. I didn't know what to do. We had to help someone.
Look at her face, like, yo, you, bro.
We had to help someone.
Look at her face, like, do you believe that? Do you believe that? I do not believe that. I don't believe this like, look at her face. This is the same facial expression that Al from Al's Toy Barn had on his face earlier. It's like y'all, it's like this is so blasphemous, so hyperbolic that it's like you can't help but see the laugh that they're repressing on their face. Because nobody that was traumatized is going like, yo, it's like no one that is truly traumatized is going to be laughing. And I know people are going to be like, oh, well, sometimes people laugh out of fear or laugh from discomfort. Well, that ain't it. Trust me, that ain't it. That is not it. Yo, bruh, like these people, oh my gosh.
As best we could, because he was an addict.
I don't believe that. Like, okay, and you see, all right. And then this is the picture that they used of Michael. And it's like, this is what they're banking on. Like they don't want you to think. They want you to feel, right? And again, and this is my new saying. I say this all the time. When I say things, when I'm trying to prove a point, whatever that is, or I'm trying to express my opinion, I'm always going to show my work. Okay? It's like in mathematics, right? It wasn't enough in class when you take a test to just, write the answer. No, teachers say, show your work. Show me how you got that answer. Show me that you didn't just put it in the calculator and then got that conclusion. No, show me how you got there. So in this case scenario, you have to show me how you drew this conclusion. And it's not just because, oh, well, this happened. Well, show me how you got there. Show me all the dots that point to these accusations and allegations that you're trying to say took place. Prove it. show me your work. So everything that you see me say on my channel, I always show my work. I don't just give my opinion. I express my opinion. I detail everything. I don't skip. I don't skip steps. I tell you why. So you're like, all right, well, Dimitri, why do you feel like that? You know, what makes you have this belief? Where does your opinion come from? Why do you feel that way? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you exactly why, because it's easy for me to do that. But for them, they can't do that. Anyway.
For Aldo, the family's youngest,
Oh, here we go.
At times the fear was overwhelming.
Here we go.
Did you find his appearance scary as a kid?
Yeah.
Ew, like, yo, this dude's...
His appearance scary as a kid?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, especially when you're in bed with him at night and he turns into the zombie and you don't love me, you don't love me. He's all, you know, his eyes were like this, all glossy, and he was a monster, a literal monster to me. So yes, he did scare me.
And then you kept, I don't buy it. I don't buy it, because me, if I go to my uncle's house and something happens over there that I don't like, trust me, that's the last time I'm going over there. You know, my parents will be like, oh yeah, we're gonna drop you off at Uncle Jonathan's house. I'll be like, no, I don't want to go, and then I won't go. They're like, oh, why you don't want? Because I don't want to go. He's scary. Bam, they're like, well, why is he scary? And then this is how you get help. But them, this shit didn't happen. This shit did not happen when they were around him as kids. From my understanding, everything was all good. Okay, because their parents didn't detect danger. They didn't see danger. The kids didn't come back, you know, with health complications. They didn't have scars. You know, they're, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't have, you know, urine, like nasty. There's no proof that nasty shit happened to them. That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, they don't have a leg to stand on. Like, again, I'm not buying it. Even if I wasn't a Michael Jackson fan, I'm like, yo, bro, these white folks lying through their teeth. When people accuse R. Kelly, they were able to prove it. That's why he's in jail. Harvey Weinstein is in jail because they could prove it. Bill Cosby was in jail because they could prove it. Diddy is in jail because they could prove it. Michael Jackson was never in jail, never saw jail time because it could not be proved. Period.
Many times.
Okay. All right. Let's continue. Let's continue. These people are already destroyed. Like, again, they don't have a leg to stand on. And then nobody who's a Michael Jackson hater could literally, like, see me in a debate or anything like that. If you want the smoke, let's get it. But you don't really want it. Okay. So, yeah, I said anything that comes out of Aldo's mouth is a dead giveaway that is cap. No one can look at this dude and believe him. He looks like Al from Al's Toy Barn, but with more hair. Yeah, they finally show one letter that shows Michael denying the allegations, just as he did on camera publicly already. If he was doing all of that behind closed doors, there definitely would have had to have been something tangible that he sent to them of a devious or nefarious nature. This cannot be their only proof other than pictures of them sitting down. This is facts. This is facts. I believe there would have been some sort of paraphernalia, some sort of, you know, tangible proof, like a bottle of alcohol that they had, maybe, which a little kid probably wouldn't hold on to that. Some sort of scarring, you know, residual damage from sexual assault. Something. They don't have it. They don't have it. I'm not seeing it. Because if I'm a judge, where's it at? Show me. I said they're all in, okay, so then there's a part where they're all in a dining room with Prince. Shout out to Prince, Michael Jackson's son. I said, but apparently he's still grooming and abusing all of them. I'm like, yo, this man had a son of his own already. Okay, and if Michael Jackson really wasn't, you know, really was like a pedophile and all that, and then he had, you know, practically adopted this child, even though he raised it, that's his son. I'm just saying, why would he not just abuse that kid? If that's the case. Michael Jackson has full, you know, legal custody and guardianship over this kid, so why would he come after you when he has a child that he's 100% in charge of, you know, with him? That doesn't make sense. Wouldn't that be the rationale? When he first abused Marie was in New Jersey at their parents' house while they were home alone and they had no idea. Yeah. So she said that you know what, let's roll the clip. Let's roll it. 2834, please. I'm literally bodying these people. This is easy work.
And to what is glaringly obvious now. They just didn't see what was happening under their noses.
Tomorrow your turn. Yes. Tomorrow. No, I do you.
Then look at them.
When he first
They look
abused
regular.
me in New Jersey, my parents were home, but
Like
they
like
were,
this is what I'm saying. Like this is the behavior
when he
and the footage of like the cool uncle coming to the house.
No, I do you.
You know what I'm saying? Like
when
look
he
at
first
them.
abused me in New Jersey, my parents were home, but they were downstairs, and it was normal for him to be with us, spending time.
Yeah, but he was a man. So what was he doing with the kids? Have your parents discussed that with you since those days?
So, you know, there's a lot of guilt there because we and they have asked us many times in the past, and we were very, very,
very
adamant that nothing happened to us, and that there was nothing going on that was abnormal.
And then they're using these pictures.
My mom, she asked
Bro, it's like
me,
I was walking around shirtless at home. This does not prove anything to me. This doesn't prove anything.
is Michael doing anything to you?
Oh, here we
Anything
go. Here
inappropriate?
goes Aldo.
So I had to say what he trained us to say and with the whole attitude? No, Mom, what are you talking about? He would never do that. He does, obviously not, Mom, you know? She's like, okay.
Yo, this dude is such a fake ass actor. I'm not buying it, Al. I'm not buying it. Go back to Al's toy barn, bro. Go back. Like, you're not an actor. You are not an actor. You are Al from Al's toy barn from Toy Story 2. You come straight out of a comic book. He looked like a cartoon character. I don't buy it. Like, he's trying mad hard. It's like people don't like, oh my gosh, like this is so fake. And then it's like, it's sad to say that this shit has like 600, 700,000 views. Y'all wasting your viewership. Like all of these people that literally sat there and watched this, you guys wasted your viewership. Because even me, it's like, I literally have a screenshot where after I watched the damn video, YouTube has this thing where it asks me like, oh, rate the video 1 out of 5 stars. And it was like, I regret watching it or I don't regret watching it. I put 1 star, regret watching. Because this really was a waste of my life. But because I'm a Michael Jackson fan, it's like, bro, I can't let this ride without me, again, destroying it and dismantling it. Because these people are literally the Cascios, scammers, money grabbers. This is grave diggers. This is what they do. This is what they do. They're not the first. They probably won't be the last. I mean, hopefully they are. But it's like, nah, bro, if you're gonna come at the GOAT, you gotta prove it. Come with receipts. Come with it, because I'm gonna come with it. Just like I'm doing right now. Let's continue. But look at this. Look at this guy. Oh my gosh. How much time do I have? Okay. Yeah, so okay, Marie said they were all adamant about nothing happened. Okay, I already addressed that. Aldo's the worst actor. So 32, Eddie says that at age 23, when Michael Jackson died, he felt alone and confused and wondering what was next for him. So you're gay. So you are gay. You are gay. If you're 23 years old and then this allegedly happened to you, you're gay.
Now, if your priest still fucking you at 28, you got a boyfriend. Like, come on, that's good.
Sir. These people speak as if they were all kept in isolation in the dungeons of Neverland and their only source of interpersonal interaction and connection was through Michael, which is false, clearly. It's as if they didn't attend school, have parents or siblings or hobbies or a life outside of Michael, and somehow, amidst of all of this, Gavin Arvizo, Jordan Chandler, James Safetook, Wade Robson, and all 5 Cascio siblings were all victimized by Michael. And so that means Michael was single-handedly manipulating the families and children of 9 different families. Right? Would that be 9? Not 9 different families, but y'all get what I'm saying. Back to back to back, and they didn't know anything until 2019 when Leaving Neverland came out, and both of them are seeking hundreds of millions of dollars in settlements. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. All of these people, Michael just single-handedly, masterminded and psychologically manipulated y'all and bamboozled y'all. Cap. Nope. Michael Jackson was not a psychological mastermind of people. Nope, he was not. 33. The lady asked the smartest question that I asked a million times. How could one man do this to one family where none of you knew what was going on with each other and none of you even knew what was happening to yourselves? Y'all didn't even, according to you, you didn't even know what was happening to yourself. And the whole explanation seems like they came up with it on the fly. Do I need to roll the clip? Let's roll the clip. Give me 30. Give me 33. Give me 33, please.
For 25 years, Michael Jackson kept secret
fake.
the terrible sexual abuse.
This looks like a training video for like a dead-end 9-to-5
of
job
the
that they
Cascio
make you do.
family. And it was a secret they all faithfully kept, not just from the world, but from each other. Today, Aldo, Marie, Dominic, and Eddie recall their life as kids.
I think one of the really extraordinary things about your story is that none of you knew the other was being abused.
Because it never
How
fucking
could that
happened.
happen in
How
one
can I know
family?
something happened if it didn't
I
happen?
think that he just did a very good job of making each person feel that way
You're a
and feel
liar.
like, and convince us
Liar.
that we're the only ones that this was
Lying.
happening to.
Yeah, I think he was pretty much a master of his
Oh,
craft.
we know you lying, Aldo. You even gotta open your mouth.
no
You don't even have to open your mouth at this point, bro.
No, I remember thinking like, there's no way that he could do that with someone else. They would come out and say something. There's no way. It's total brainwashing. We were brainwashed.
No,
to
you
believe that
weren't.
way.
The only thing you were brainwashed by was dollars and cents, dead presidents, Benjamins. That's what you were brainwashed by. Benjamin Franklin, $100 bills. That's what you were brainwashed by. And that's okay, because a lot of people have a price. You were bought. You were flipped. Michael Jackson wrote a song about y'all. He just didn't know that y'all was going to be the niggas that he was talking about in the damn song. Money.
This is the Cascio family. They have been reluctant to come here today, afraid that they might be betraying a friendship that they've held so privately and dearly for over 25 years.
They say a mark of how brainwashed they were was their appearance on Oprah a year after Michael Jackson's death in 2009. The family went on the show to praise and defend the pop star.
So I have to ask you, Frank, Marie, Nicole, were there ever any improprieties with you and Michael Jackson?
Never. Michael couldn't.
And y'all saying that with full conviction. Y'all don't come off as somebody that's brainwashed. And I've seen people that like are hostages and being held psychologically against their will, and they don't even know what they're talking about. These people don't even look like they're all the way there upstairs. Y'all had all y'all faculties intact, and the parents were there. So if anybody should have been absent from the brainwash, it should have been them that would have known that something was going on. Brainwash doesn't work like that, because you can see brainwash. This is not brainwash.
He couldn't harm a fly.
Okay.
Your family went on Oprah really to support Michael Jackson, to say that he didn't hurt people, that he could never hurt children. Why did you do that?
Why?
Well, we
Money.
were still under that same mindset that we had to continue to protect him.
Nobody was ready to come out with the truth. We were all
Stop
scared to
talking,
come out.
Al.
So
Stop talking, Al.
We had to keep defending.
Stop. Just stop.
Stop and savor the strawberries.
Like she said, stop.
That all changed in 2019 with the release of the Leaving Neverland documentary, which detailed other explosive allegations against Michael Jackson.
He was
Here goes the biggest
one of
load
the
of baloney.
kindest people I knew. And he also sexually abused me.
You're right. You're such a liar.
For the
You're such a
Cascios,
lying.
Wade Robson
Stop
and
lying.
James Safe Chuck's graphic revelations
Gosh, man.
mirrored their own experiences. For a period of 8 years, the abuse was even happening at the same time. For Aldo, then 27, it
Here we
was
go.
the critical turning point. Learning there were other victims meant this was no longer just his secret to keep.
And I was like, oh my God, he did this to other kids. That was enough for my courage to just blossom.
Get the
I was
fuck
like, no,
out
no,
of
no,
here,
no.
bro.
This isn't made up.
Get out of here.
This is real.
Aldo decided to tell his family of the abuse he'd endured,
Oh, and then they're like,
unaware
oh my
he
God,
would
you
also
too?
be opening the lid on the suffering of each and every one of his siblings.
I called everyone to meet at my mom and dad's home. And I said, just want you guys to know that everything that they're saying is true, because it happened to me too.
Aldo's courageous admission led to all his siblings finally sharing what they say Jackson had done to
It
them.
was the hardest thing for me to do was to admit it.
Oh, yeah.
I can't describe the feeling, the range of emotions that I was feeling at the time and coming out.
I'll never forget my two parents. That they were very, very emotional, and they
Well,
were
because
like,
if
"Did
it was
happen
true,
to
that
you
means they
too?"
failed, and they were probably
And
the most
that's when
neglectful
I,
parents in America.
I came and
They
I said, yeah.
they could easily set the world record for the longest amount of time you can neglect your children, literally. But this is cap. This is cap. They're liars.
And that was
White
it.
lies, literally. White lies.
What is it?
White lies. All right. Okay. Now let's continue with my timestamp. So where are we? We're at 37. Okay. All right. So now, okay. Ooh. Oh no. Nope. We're going back. Roll the clip.
You're taking on a world famous, a world loved celebrity. How do you think you're going to go?
I think it's going to be a long, hard fight, but in the end, we're going to win, and the family is going to get vindication.
Wow.
You mean
These
money?
fighting words.
You mean money?
Them's is.
Howard King is the Cascio family's
Y'all want a
hard-bitten
settlement.
but passionate attorney.
It outrages me, it angers me, it pisses me off.
So this is a case about justice, or is it about cash?
It's about justice, but justice always comes with a payment.
Okay, bam. Now let me elaborate on that, which I already made notes, but I'm gonna, So here's my thing. Justice does not equate to dollars and cents. The reason why I say that is because if you were truly victimized, molested, domestic violence was inflicted upon you, sexual assault, whatever, no amount of money can repair that type of pain. None whatsoever. Right? Now, what would justice look like to them? Justice to them is not only telling your truth, your side, but it's also proving it, which I'm going to emphasize later. And that's it. If something happened to me, and let's say the person, the perpetrator, the victimizer, is no longer alive, and I find that their death has liberated the part of me that was a prisoner of my own mind and circumstances, and I want justice, and let's say this is a person of interest. Justice to me is letting the world know what in fact happened to me, but I can never get that justice unless I can prove what happened to me. Period. Justice is not, oh, this person was a billionaire or worth billions of dollars and I settle out of court for $500 million. That's not justice. And then, oh, justice is now me living a lavish lifestyle on that person's dime. That's not justice. Oh, my life has changed because I got money from the person that victimized me. In fact, bro, I don't want the money. Ooh, shit, look at me. I don't want the money. I don't want it. Because to me, it's like getting millions of dollars from the person that did me wrong, right? To me, that's like blood money. I know where this money came from and I don't want it. It's like I didn't tell my truth for me to get money so I can go and buy a Lamborghini. Even though I want a Lamborghini one day, but I'm just saying. Like, I didn't do it for that. I did it so people can know who this person really is. And if I'm going to do something like that, I'm coming with undisputed facts and receipts. It's not just, I'm not just telling this just because, whatever, because I see, again, a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. That's not justice. These people, they don't know what justice is. Because that's not justice. Because Michael Jackson cannot be put behind bars. So if you're going to attack him, come with receipts and tell the truth. But you can't because this is not true and you don't have receipts. Let's continue. Oh, I think that was
Howard
it.
says this is a fight that started in 2019.
Okay. All right. I don't, All right. And I'm just going to elaborate on my notes because I said, and this is the thing, if this was about justice to them, they wouldn't have taken not one red set from the estate, which is what I just said. I didn't even remember I said this yesterday. I said, because the bottom line is, if I was victimized and traumatized by an individual or individuals, that is not something money can fix, especially if the person isn't even alive to be held accountable for what he or she has done. The only reason they are doing this is because of money. The only reason why James Safechuck and Wade Robson is doing this is because of money. They are financially motivated, and it's clear as day. They have stories they cannot prove, and it's hard to disprove because Michael isn't here to defend himself. And it's gone too far for them to change their minds. They feel if they were able to get almost $700,000 a year for doing nothing, that they should be able to get more than that. So they spun the block, especially seeing what Safechuck and Robson are seeking in damages. They figure they can get the same or more. This is not about justice. Justice is telling your truth and proving it, just like real victims do. And again, I mentioned it before. See, people said that Cassie was lying. She had the crazy stories, but evidence to prove it. You see, when Cassie came out with, again, the charges, and then the document was made available for people to see online, what did Diddy say? Diddy literally went on his social media and said that she was lying. He was like, yeah, don't believe the lies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is love. Yeah. That's what he said. Until what? She was able to prove it. She was able to prove it. What did he say after the hotel footage came out? Oh, I'm sorry. Yo, I'm gonna go to therapy. I'm gonna become a better man. That's what, you see what I'm saying? So again, you have to be able to prove it. If I say you did something, anybody that's listening right now, we here. If I say you did something, I have to prove it, otherwise it's not truth. Truth is what you can prove. It's not what I say. It's what I can prove. And they have yet to prove it. Where are we? 39 minutes in out of 60 minutes. They have not proved anything. Nothing. People couldn't prove it back in the day, and they still can't prove it now. How many accusers? So technically, it's all four of them, or 5 of them, technically, that's accusing Michael Jackson. In addition to, so that's 5. Then you got Safechuck, Robson, Gavin Arvizo, and Jordan Channel. That's 9 accusers. 9 different accusers. And not one of them was able to prove anything. Y'all can say lies, but you can't prove them though. And this is my point. And this is why this whole 60-minute segment has been officially destroyed. Minute by minute, dismantled by me. Single-handedly, bodied. Because y'all can't prove it. Michael Jackson didn't send you a letter like, hey, I can't wait for the booty rumble. Show me that. Show me something. Because if technically this is some covert sexual act y'all will engage in, then he would write something like that to you. If he's calling people doo-doo head and apple head and all of that, if that's a code word, then nobody would know that but you. I'm pretty sure he would send something like that if for what they're trying to describe and the picture they're trying to paint. Michael would definitely, the person that they're trying to describe would do something like that. Easily. Would say, hey, yeah, I can't wait, for the booty rumble today. Show me that. And I'd be like, well, damn, they got a receipt. But they can't furnish it because it didn't happen. Michael Jackson was not sucking people off. Michael Jackson was not drinking piss. That's disgusting. Anyway. Okay. Hotel footage of the beating, pictures she took of the scars, bruise she had, video evidence of the freak-offs, and the support of law enforcement who found plenty of proof to put Diddy behind bars. That's the difference between real and fake victims. I said that already. These people don't have anything to back their story up, and they visibly look like they are lying. I'm an actor. I know when someone is being true to the moment. When they are trying to act, it's like seeing a skit on the internet. You can tell right away when it's fake. 39 minutes, 33 seconds. If the estate really did go to them and try to amend the contract ahead of the film, again, it's leaving a paper trail that paints a bad picture, and it looks like they are in cahoots covertly, because why is the estate even contacting these people? For what? I said in my video. If someone accuses me of something that I didn't do and threaten to take me to court, because you can't prove it because I didn't do anything. It's as simple as that. They will be wasting money and time fighting an uphill battle, not realizing that's the hill they're going to die on. Facts. Yeah, now, and I said this in, a couple of different videos already. And, my thing is this. If they're not on the same side and they're not have any sort of dealings with each other, I'm talking about the estate and the Cascios, right? Why on earth would the estate come into any sort of agreement when you're paying them $690,000? Now, Paris Jackson, shit, honestly, with that said, I agree with her. Because why are you paying them $690,000 of my money, technically? To keep them quiet? Keep them quiet about what? Lies? Lies that they can't prove? What are you afraid of? If someone's accusing me of something and I get my lawyers to go give them hush money, then what does that tell you? Because I said in my video that no, settling out of court is not necessarily an admittance of guilt. Because sometimes, again, when you can either prove or disprove something, it always gets to a point where it could get, stalemated out, right? Where it's not going anywhere. So I can see why Michael Jackson was like, yo, cut the check and just put it away. But I think even then, didn't Michael end up regretting that, down the line? Like, he was like, yeah, I probably should have never settled out of court with these people because all it did was make me look like the bad guy that I wasn't. So I say that to say, yeah, the estate, they should not have come into any sort of agreement with them, because that same agreement, they're literally they're spinning that, in their favor. And I see why people can take it that way, because it looks bad. I'm telling you, it don't look good. For a lot of people that rock with the estate, yo, y'all gotta see things for what it is. Because if I have no association with the enemy, or all right, if I'm supposedly on the good guy side, but then you find out that I've been fraternizing with the villains, how does that make me look? Why am I even meeting up with them and cutting side end, back end deals? Shady, seedy deals. For what? For what? Unless I got something going on with them. I'm just saying. 40. Okay, bam. Okay. Ooh, cool. 40 minutes and 53 seconds. Boom.
By Michael Jackson.
Anybody who sees
The attack that the Cascios are extortionists, they are liars, and there was no molestation by Michael Jackson.
anybody who sees your interview with the Cascios or sees my 10 plus hours of sworn testimony to the Cascios could not possibly conclude they were lying.
Cool. The truth is not to be told. The truth is to be proved. Is to be proven. Again, truth is to be proven, not to be told. Just because I say something doesn't make it the truth. The truth is what I can prove. The truth is what I can prove, not what I can say. Just because I say something does not make it true. But if I can prove it with undisputed facts and receipts, therefore it is the truth. Because you know how they say there's their side, there's my side, and then there's the truth. Why is it the truth? Why do we call it that? Because the truth is what is proven. The truth is what is factual, not opinion. This whole thing so far has been nothing but opinion. No facts. No nothing. Just straight opinions. Conjecture. So him saying, 10 hours of sworn testimony. There's people who swear to God every day. There's people who swear on their kids. Swear on the dead homies, and they be lying through their teeth. This is facts. This is facts. Just because you swear on something does not mean it's true. There's a lot of people that commit perjury every day. People like, do you swear to tell the whole truth, the full truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? And people will put their hand on the damn Bible and still lie anyway. So this is what I'm saying. Like, it being, you just told me that they lied for 10 hours. Just because I said something for 10 hours straight does not make it any true? No. How long I talk doesn't make it facts. What makes it facts is the evidence to substantiate those words and claims that I'm saying and those accusations that are being made. Him, I'm not impressed by him at all, and he's supposed to be a legal professional with them bags under his eyes. Like, come on, man. Like, that tie don't even look good. You fit. Come on, man. Come on, bro. I'm not buying it. And I'm just gonna elaborate on some more of my take. All right, so I said, here's my response. So I said, first of all, anybody who's watching this video can clearly see that I've already debunked this whole 60-minute segment when it really should have been 60 seconds or 5 minutes tops, because it doesn't take 60 minutes to tell that this whole thing is a lie and a sham of a money grab, and I'll tell you why. When you compare the Cascios to real victims of child molestation, sexual assault, domestic violence, the stories always checks out from their testimony to the tangible evidence that they furnish in court. If something truly happened to someone, there's always a paper trail, be it actual dates, times that match up, voicemails, voice recordings, video surveillance, photos that actually depict the alleged assaults and abuse that took place. Throughout this entire 60-minute segment, or at least 40 minutes that I've gotten up to, or as I typed this down, 41 minutes, I have not seen anything that is indicative of child molestation. This is the same thing that happened in court 2003. They had the guns blazing for Michael and couldn't find a damn thing to go off of. The one thing Michael was guilty of was being too welcoming and naive of all the wrong people. And how could he, when to me, it seems like these people were in his life for the sole purpose to flip the script and accuse him of everything they couldn't prove he was guilty of when he was alive. When you were victimized, you have to be able to prove it, otherwise it will not stick. This lawyer, whatever his name is because I said I don't remember his name because I rarely remember an NPC's name, can't even prove it himself. What they're hoping for is the estate to cave in without a fight, just like they did years ago, and cut the check to make it go away. But like I said before, the problem is that the checks that they will have to cut is more than they have in liquid cash. And even if they did have the liquid cash to give, they will have to liquidize the one asset that can compensate for that sort of financial loss, which is the other half of Michael Jackson's catalog that they sold off for $600 million. And the total amount in settlements between James Safechuck, Wade Robson, and the Cascios equates to the same exact amount. They can't prove it because they don't need to prove it because they were getting paid $690,000 a year just to exist and wait in the wings until it was time to move again. And now, as soon as the movie comes out and is successful, bam, here comes the Cascios again with the accusations. It's not a coincidence about the timing of everything. I'm just saying. That is my theory. But as I'm seeing right now, the timing is too coincidental to me. It's like very convenient that now all of a sudden, they drop in this full segment. I'm like, yo, like if y'all been woke up in 2019, why y'all ain't do that back then? When Leaving Neverland was in full swing, clearly y'all should have jumped in cahoots with them and done a joint documentary. If that was the case, if y'all gonna go in and go to war with the estate, then go to war. Do it. But this is all part of a plot to me to get the other 50% of the catalog, but that is just my opinion. Okay. 4315, again, the same lie. He was first abused by Michael Jackson at 8 years old, but then said that he wasn't in the so-called exclusive Applehead Abuse Club in 1993 with his other siblings who were apparently getting abused. Are the Cascios mad because they tried to put fake songs on that Michael Jackson album back in 2009 and everybody called out that the songs were fake even though the estate tried to vouch for them and they were eventually removed? Is that why y'all are pissed off? Is that you tried to include yourselves and got caught, so now you're trying to burn the whole house down? Is that it? That might be part of it. Who knows? Who knows? Because the estate had to have known that them joints was fake. Because I read that the estate was trying to vouch for the songs too. And then 4545, he said, just because he didn't get caught doesn't make the story any less true. The only story is the one that can be proved, not just told. I can tell any kind of story. Does it make it true? No. Let's play the clip. Let's run the clip.
Just because he didn't get caught, it doesn't make our story any less true.
For some,
It ain't that he didn't get caught, okay? Because technically he got arrested, he got searched, he got shamed by the public. It's not that he didn't get caught. It's that they couldn't prove it. That's the thing. It's like you see how people use words to try to play in your faces. It's not that he got caught because technically he was guilty until proven innocent. That's how it was. He wasn't innocent until proven guilty because the way that America felt about Michael Jackson, everybody hated his guts for the most part. You know what I mean? It's like more people thought that Michael Jackson was guilty than innocent. because he was guilty by public opinion. But they couldn't prove it. So he really needs to rephrase that and say, well, just because they couldn't prove it doesn't mean that, our story isn't true. And you see how it would sound if he actually kept it real, but you can't keep it real when you're lying.
Some people, they feel discomfort that these allegations are being made after Michael Jackson's death, that he's not here to explain himself or defend himself.
You guys are cowards.
Can you understand that discomfort?
You're cowards.
Yeah, I can understand that, but at the same time, they have to understand the psychology of what it is to be.
Why you don't even know what you're talking about?
They have to understand.
You work in a pizzeria. You don't know anything about psychology.
They have to understand the psychology of what it is to be a sexual.
You see that?
And
he can't even talk. This is what you see how liars articulate.
But at the same time,
they're trying to find lies in real time.
The psychology of what it is to be a sexual abuse victim. That we were kids. We weren't able to come forward.
He dies, and we still have to suffer.
Like they talk like they were orphans. What? Especially like, yo, that happened to me, bro. I would be mad at my parents. I'd be like, yo, y'all didn't protect me, but they mad at him. Convenient, right?
I think it's not fair that he didn't live long enough for me to put him in jail.
Excuse me?
It's not fair that he didn't live long enough for me to put him in jail.
Well, how were you gonna do that? How would you have put him in jail if you can't even prove it now? You can't even prove it. You can't prove anything you're accusing this man of. I'm not convinced.
Oh.
The chairman of the board. To understand how entrenched Michael Jackson was in the Cascio
he looked like the cool uncle that's visiting the house.
In 2001, following the September 11 attack,
none of them looked like weird shit was going on, and he got his kids there.
New Jersey home.
No man with children would do something like that. Well, let me not say that, okay? But Michael Jackson having children of his own and knowing everything, the way that Michael Jackson feels about children, there's no way Michael Jackson would be capable of such atrocities. Absolutely no way. Absolutely no way. Let me continue because I think I'm almost finished. All right, so yeah, I said the stuttering, absolutely no conviction. Might as well be reading from a script. I highly doubt that any of them could look Michael Jackson in the face and say that he did those things. I highly doubt, or I highly doubt that, or maybe they can because none of them have heart. Because if they did, they would have had it in them to stand up for themselves if all of this was true, which it isn't, because victims that want justice can stand in the face of their accuser and point the finger. Y'all couldn't because these things did not happen. Furnish proof. Show me. Period. Show me Michael Jackson was doing all of that. Show me. You know what I'm saying? I'll wait. But I'll be waiting for the rest of my life if that's the case, because y'all can't, these things didn't happen to you. They did not happen to you. I'm not, I wasn't born yesterday. I might be young, but I wasn't born yesterday. Now, finally, I said now also, now Aldo is saying that 3 days before Michael Jackson died, that he got propositioned again. Now that to me is the most disrespectful thing, period. Let me just read my point. So I said Michael Jackson physically and mentally depleted, under the duress of 50 scheduled dates for the This Is It tour, in full swing of rehearsals from what I know, barely sleeping, barely eating, somehow found time to call Al from Al's Toy Barn, Aldo Cascio, to engage in a Diddy style freak off one last time before he goes. I said, this is the ultimate insult to this man and his legacy, and they are literally trying to diminish his whole life and existence to child molestation and destroy his entire legacy for money. To say that just 3 days before he died, he was trying to have a rendezvous with you? Like, yo, you see the disgust on my face? This is why I said the entire time that this dude ruins any ounce of credibility that they would have had if he wasn't there. Oh, you know, let me play the clip because I put a quote from myself. Let me play the clip.
That had nothing but love to give. And why did you take advantage of that?
The assaults on little brother Aldo started when he was 7 and stopped when he was 14 in 2005. Though Jackson propositioned him again shortly before his death in 2009 when Aldo was 18.
Y'all believe this shit?
I actually did have the courage on the phone 3 days before he died. And I was just like, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
You didn't want to be part of that club anymore?
Oh, good. Oh, no. Oh, no. I hated him.
Y'all, do you really believe this? Y'all really believe that? The ultimate insult. They're literally diminishing this man's whole entire existence to being an abuser of them and other white kids. Basically, that's what they're telling me. No. Ow, Patrick Star. The one thing that he did say that is true is that he hated him. Dare I say they all hated him. They all have a job to do, which is to tarnish and destroy his legacy from day one. Just like how they say they can be brainwashed as children. Yeah, they were brainwashed, just not by Michael Jackson, by whoever it is that is really behind all of this. That's who they were brainwashed by. That's my theory. Michael Jackson is the one that is getting exploited because what he did, what did he get out of being around them? Nothing but companionship. They are the beneficiaries of that relationship, and now they are trying to cash out over $200 million. Mission accomplished, huh? They were paid actors, but the only one they fooled was Michael himself. And I said, I don't even need to see that, but I said, there's basically a moment where they're playing soccer and they're kicking the ball around and all that. And to me, that was just the most fakest moment ever because I know my phone was about to die. So I say that to say this. That is true. They always, I dare I say, they always felt Michael Jackson was a monster. They always hated him. And they never thought much of him. I believe that these people were in Michael Jackson's life for the sole purpose to dismantle his legacy and to take everything away from him. His legacy, his money, his good name, his catalog. Really, that's what they really want. You know, his catalog, all of that. That's what they wanted to take away from him. Because word to Michael Jackson, he said in that 1993 deposition, they were like, "Oh, did you consider this guy a friend? The guy who tried to say that he stole Dangerous." You know, like they were like, "Oh, was he a friend?" I forgot what his name was. And then Michael was like, "Would a friend do this? Would a friend do this? Would a friend really be doing this?" And I know Michael Jackson would be heartbroken right now. And as someone who I would consider myself to be a student of Michael Jackson, a fan, and I could have been a friend, it's just like, it's like, you know what, Michael, I got this. I got it. I got it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got it. Don't worry about it, man. I got this. You know, I'm hurt for him. Because it's almost like you give everything to somebody and then they cheat on you or some shit. You know, or you were a friend to somebody and then they stab you in the back. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't even have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like if money's what you wanted, you didn't have to go in your mother's purse to get it and steal it. You could have just asked her and she would have given it to you. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure if they wanted money from Michael Jackson, I'm pretty sure he probably would have helped them. Y'all didn't have to do that. But it's because you were there as espionage spies, you know, to do this right now, to make the 50% of the rest of his catalog sold back to the same people that oppressed Michael Jackson. I don't have a problem with Sony, but again, just for the sake of his story, this is what happened to him. And there's no proof in this pudding. None. You can't prove it. And this is for every single Michael Jackson hater out there. All of you. None of you can prove that. You don't have to like Michael Jackson. Just say you do not like Michael Jackson. But do not try to say Michael Jackson was a pedophile, a child molester, gay, all of these things, because you cannot prove it. Show me receipts and we'll go from there. But you can't prove it. Because if all 9 of these people cannot prove it, you as a lowly NPC hater cannot prove it your damn self, because you weren't even involved. You didn't even know him. So if they can't furnish receipts, how could you? But we as fans, we can furnish receipts. You can't. You can't. None of y'all can debate me because I'm like, yo, we can do that. We can do that. I can get all the facts. We can set a date up. And we can debate, but I don't have to do that because the proof is right there. None of you can disprove anything that I'm saying right now. You can prove that you don't like him. You don't have to. There's plenty of artists I don't like. I don't like Jack Harlow, for example. I don't like, well, let me not say him. I don't like Lil Uzi Vert. I don't like a lot of these young rappers, you know, now, Young Vicodin and Young Xanax and all these YNs that are out now. I don't like none of them. I don't need to prove that. That's just my opinion. You don't have to. But it's like to dedicate anti-Michael Jackson channels, you know, to just your distaste for this man. And that's all you do. That is all you do. And then like one of them, she's a girl. And if you're watching this video, I'm talking about you. She said, basically, I remember I seen her channel the first time. And I seen her icon. I was like, yeah, she's actually kind of cute. And then I look at her now, the decay. Like, she literally, like, aged, like, 20 years. And I'm like, you see, this is what happens to people when you dedicate your life and your spirit to negativity. You become ugly. Like, your ugliness is going to permeate on the outside. I'm like, she don't even look black anymore. And some of y'all probably know who I'm talking about if you came across her channel. And all these other leeches and parasites and lice and rats and you know, all of that. Y'all can't prove it. Don't like him. Whatever. But stop accusing somebody of something you cannot prove. If you can prove it, prove it. Prove it. Give the evidence to them. Give the evidence to the Cascios. Because they can use it clearly because they don't have any. But none of y'all have anything either. This is real justice right here. This is justice here. Prove it. The truth is not to be told. The truth is to be proven. And until you can prove it, shut your ass up. Shut up. You lost. You can't beat us. I don't want you to join us. We don't want that negativity over here. But you can't, you're dying on this hill. And to say that the significance of your life was trying to tear down a man that meant nothing to this world but good. That's all he tried to do was like put smiles on people's faces. How many artists do you know now that are going to hospitals and sitting with cancer patients? How many? They're not doing it like that. Donating millions of dollars, giving it away, because it's like, yo, my life is about giving. It's not about taking. I'm here to give to the world. How many artists are writing songs, We Are the World and Heal the World? They're not doing it like he was. None of them. Michael Jackson is the standard. Michael Jackson was not perfect, but he wasn't a pedophile. Damn right. He was not. He was not a child molester because you can't prove it. Prove it to me. Prove it to me. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it. But you don't have it. So stop. So stop. Period. Do something else with your life. Do something else with your life. All you lowly hater NPCs, people that be on my channel talking trash, get a life. Do something positive. Stop wasting time. You are wasting time. Whatever you believe in, you're wasting God's time. Whatever it is, do something. Do something better with your life. Stop dedicating your life to negativity. Stop doing that. Because Safe Chuck, Robson, the Cascios, they're agents. They're on the clock. They're just doing what they're told. They were instructed by the master hand. Y'all play Super Smash Brothers, you know what I'm talking about. To me, the master hand is the powers that be. That's who they are. And they're literally just, they're not even the fingers, they're just the lines on the hands. That's what they are. So they're doing what they're told. But y'all don't even get paid to be haters. So do something else. Do something else. Seriously, y'all disgust me. You disgust me. All you negative anti-Michael Jackson content creators, y'all disgust me. You disgust me. You live a meaningless life as of right now. Do something different. This is me. I'm your daddy. I'm parenting you now. Do something else with your life. Do something else with your life. When I timestamp this video, there's gonna be messages for the haters, messages for the naysayers. This is my message to you. This is your slap in the face. I'm slapping you. Get it together. Get it together, all you haters. You can't prove it. So do something else. Do something else. You know what I'm saying? Stop. I won. I won. We won. Hold this L. And this too.
Get in there.
Anyway, your body done. Hold that. Now, shout outs to all the real Michael Jackson fans out there. This is why I'm here, for the real. You know, if the popular content creators, MJ people ain't gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. That's what we do here. This is what we do. And my phone is about to die, so on that note, what are your thoughts? Please be sure as always to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.